Hello. Hello, everybody out there in TV land, or, Twitch land, or hello, REBBL, whatever. Insert greeting. It's fine. This is week 11 of the REL 6 and 7 div review. So we're going to be looking at teams this week, and we've only got, 2 more left after this? I guess technically 3 if we want to do one right after everything's over, like a playoff preview kind of thing, but that depends on what gets done for playoff previews in general. Maybe the podcast folks will want to do one or something. We'll have to wait and see on that front. Until then, we're going to look at what happened in Div 6 and Div 7 this week and what's coming up next week.
Yeah.
Do you want to just get right into Div 6? So here we go. Camera looks a bit better now that we are small. It's fine. So this is the results for Div 6 for Week 10. Shame on one game here not getting played. So the Div isn't actually rolled yet. But we can look at what has happened so far. This week certainly was an interesting one. Well, first of all Orc no play, Great Cold Ones. That is an admin result because the All Orc no play has dropped out. So that is an easy one. Next, we had the Elements of Style and the Averagerice chose. So here
we had predicted that MySpace would win, and he disappointed us and the nation.
Yeah, disappointing.
Rude.
Well, 2-1. So we're both wrong there, I guess. Let's see. MVP on the Agi Skink and MVP on the One Turner because he needs more SPP.
He does. No, he does not at all. He's got all the skills you would need, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 43 blocks sustained, 4 KOs and 2 casualties. So not the most elf removal game we've ever seen, especially since he managed to KO and Kaz to back himself. So if we look at, that's a lot of ones. I wonder how many were relevant ones.
Double the number of 1s to 6s. His catch, he had a 54% catch rate, a 67% dodge rate, a 57% going for it rate, 100% pass, so he can't complain. I mean, he picked up the ball twice, so excuses, MySpace, excuses.
Some of those things are pretty bad, though.
Yes, but your tree stood up 66% of the time, though. You practically diced him.
I know, right? You only took root 75%, or you passed 75% of your take roots.
Your block dice were not much better. The smaller sample size.
Yeah, the GFIs are kind of bad, but also small sample size potentially, though.
Man, Averagerice got a lot of 3 dice. I guess mostly hitting catchers, but he got some pals. Let's see.
Strength 4 onto Strength 2 means it's pretty easy to get 3 dice.
Wrong. Averagerice attempted 2 passes. I hope they were just SPP passes.
Well, we do have a win from the Averagerice shows there, and that could be pretty interesting considering the Averagerice shows were one of the teams that were closing in, or one of the teams that were also up there at the top of the table here. So that, especially with Elements of Style being the top of the table, that could result in a little bit of shifting. We'll get to the leaderboard in a few minutes. Next, we had Rage Dwarf versus Respectable Gents. Here we predicted the Dwarfs, and the Dwarfs won. So victory for us. Troll Slayer MVP to level him, which is kind of cool. And an MVP on the Chaos Warrior. I did watch this game happen, and I believe the double Niggle Chaos Warriors, or that's a different Chaos team. I watched the other team.
Is that not this team? I'm pretty sure that's this team.
Is that this team? Whichever Chaos team is a double Niggle Chaos Warrior, that guy's now dead. But the double Niggle...
Nothing to do with the Niggle, yeah.
Nope, it had nothing to do with the Niggle. It was just straight 6s on the injury rules.
I believe this was because he had 2+ strength Chaos Warriors, and
yeah, it was this team. I don't know what I was thinking of, but I watched this game happen, and the double Niggle guy died. Turns out the Niggle didn't matter. But yeah, Rage Dwarf had the... Yeah, the Rage Dwarf had the game pretty much in control. They outblocked, outball possessed the Chaos. So nothing too surprising here. You know, they were able to outbash the Chaos team because they were dwarves, and the Chaos don't really have the like sort of guard to keep up with the dwarf guard. They may have the strength advantage, but you know, Troll Slayers and guard to fix that thing, especially when one of your Chaos Warriors dies during the game. That doesn't help with your strength advantage either.
Nope. And it looks like, like you said, the dwarves just pummeled the living hell out of the lizards. Or not the lizards, Chaos, rather.
Yep. We had...
Too bad, but that's exactly what we expected. And then we have the bad QB squad versus the economy scale. We said the lizards would win, and this time they actually did.
Yep, good job.
Oh, no, never mind. You said the underworld would win. Rip your points.
Yeah, I know, right? There's only 1-0. Only 8. This is like surprisingly few blocks, I guess, for the lizards.
They were nice to each other. 25. Well, no, there were 48 blocks for the lizards, but they only broke armor 8 times, which is suspicious.
Although 8 armor breaks resulted in 5 KOs and 3 casualties, so that kind of worked.
Yeah, who needs stuns?
Yeah,
overrated.
I mean, so they inflicted 8 armor breaks, 4 KOs, and 3 injuries. So one of those KOs was a goblin, like failing a GFI or a dodge or something, and KO'd himself. But like that's a very high armor break rate for those number of blocks. In return, the lizards did take 3 casualties and 3 KOs, so the oven mitts were not over the claw of the bad QB squad.
Indeed, they were not. I'm looking for the armor dice for the bad QB squad made 66% of their armor rolls, which is a bit high, depending on how much Mighty Blow there was in play, and whether or not how many of those blocks were on trolls. But yeah, anyway, interesting stuff.
Yeah, and then I like the then we had the economy of scale. It's similar. I like the 100% pickup on 4 attempts. That's not bad, considering
sometimes lizards can get the ball.
Considering it's Agi 3, 4. You expect one of those 4 to fail in that case. There was an intercept attempt, but it didn't work. Sad. All right. Then we have, shame on this match for not getting played. It looks like it's not going to get played. Rouge's Gallery and foul targets.
Go to Rouge's Gallery, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, based on the Reddit thread anyway, there just hasn't been a response from Jeff. So Jeff, as a regular viewer, shame for not scheduling your game. I don't know if there is extenuating circumstances, but come on, play your games, guys. Especially since this means that this Chorf team will have they're doing well. They're near the top of the table. They've had 4 buys at this point.
The Chorfs have 4 buys. The Chorfs 4 buys. It's my suspicious face.
Play your games. BioWare for Life and the Dead Wrestler Society. So we predicted that the Lizards would win this, and then the Vamps did. So last time there was a Lizard versus Vamp game, we were like, the Vamps have the tools to deal with this. They'll probably win, and then they lost. And then this time we were like, this is a better Lizard team. I don't think the Vamps have the tools to deal with this Lizard team, and then they won. So clearly we just don't know how to Vamp. So,
Dranar is desperately making excuses in chat.
Of course. Excuses. Excuse time. Lost the ball at the end of my drive. Stole it early in his to score. Couldn't stop the second score. Almost tied it on turn 16. Skink pass, but it got dropped on the goal line. Dyer did work with gazes. Don't worry. Neither do I. Dyer Sickfish also does not know how to vampire.
I don't think anyone does.
MVP for the Thrall, which will level him so we can get wrestle or something. Always.
It is worth noting, perhaps, that BioWare for Life got 19 armor breaks, which resulted in a grand total of 3 KOs and 2 injuries.
Oh.
Yeah, so not really punching that hard.
No,
a lot of breaks.
Lizards took a death, 2 casualties, and 2 KOs. Yeah. This might have been this could have been. I think this would have been an interesting game to see with looking at these basic stats, sort of ball possession, where the ball ended up being passes, successful blocks, that sort of thing.
It looks like the Lizards Apo to KO because they have 3 inflicted by BioWare for Life, but only 2 sustained. I've never seen that. Might be that they Apo to KO.
Yes, potentially. decent amount of SPP for both sides. 9 for the lizards, 16 for the vampires. Assuming some of that's on the vampires, that's pretty good.
Yes.
Let's take a look at these dice. The bloodlusts weren't amazing at 78%.
I mean,
But
that's about average. I mean, like, it's 5% below average, but it's not.
1 in 6. And you normally expect that to be sort of close to average, considering you're rolling it 4 times a turn.
Yep. Hypnotic gazes were above average, and
Yep.
that can be a big part of winning the game. Their dodges were bad if they were mostly vamp dodges, and good if they were, or exactly average, rather, if they were thrall. GFIs were nearly exactly average. Or no, are exactly average. Never mind.
90% injury. 19 successes, 2 failures.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lizards, yeah, 1 failed pickup, and that I feel like was the crucial one, as was mentioned in chat there. Bad KO rolls probably didn't help either. I mean, it's only 1 off normal because there's only 4, but still, so that'll happen. It's hard to say that's bad, but it's certainly unfortunate, I guess, is a better way of putting it. Only 2 bonehead rolls. Crocs did not activate very much that game, or was out early and didn't come back or something. Because
Crocs was KO'd the whole match.
That's a big deal. Yeah, that is a big deal. Lightning bolt worked. That's counterintuitive to most of my experiences. Every time I see a lightning bolt, it fails.
I've never had a lightning bolt fail.
I've never had a lightning bolt work. No, that's not true. I think I've had it work once. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've had something like 80% lightning bolt failures in my history of using lightning bolts. I don't really understand how that works, but I haven't used that many, to be fair, but there have been way more failures than successes. I think it's been like 1 or 2 successes of like 5 or 6 lightning bolts. Then we had the Hufflepuff Heroes and the Fogmire Fenbeasts, where I predicted the Khemri and you predicted the Lizards, so more points for you, less points for me.
Although, am I killing it?
If I recall correctly, I predicted the Khemri just because I really wanted the Khemri to win, and we needed more contentious pitches. It's very true. Block more blocks to the Khemri than the Lizards, which is certainly expected. Although the Lizards went ham on the injury dice there. 5 injuries, 4 KOs, and 1 kill inflicted.
I mean, they had 50% armor breaks, unless a bunch of those are fouls. They made 46 blocks and got 23 armor breaks. So.
That's really serious and unfortunate for the Lizard, or for the Khemri.
They sustained a death. If it's the fucking... Oh, no, I know what it is. It's a Tomb Guardian, but it's not the precious
50% armor breaks is insane. That's ridiculous. I mean, I know a lot of the team is armor 7, but there's also the armor 9 Tomb Guardians and stuff. And you don't normally see...
And based on how many things were getting killed, like, he definitely ran out of fodder. So he was definitely getting punched on these Tomb Guardians, and they were just going down.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for the Khemri, but good for the Lizards. Sometimes it's nice to have those sorts of games where your opponent... It feels good. It feels bad and feels good. It feels good to get the, like, relatively easy win. It feels bad that you're getting the easy win because you're just destroying your opponent's team, and there's nothing they can do to stop you.
Yep.
But it looks like that's what occurred in that match. The Fogmire Fenbeast just sort of like dismantling skeletons bone by bone.
You want to look at the leaderboard?
Sure do. So before we do, worth noting that All Orc No Play, Great Cold Ones and Rouge's Gallery will likely be gaining 3 points here. So at the top we have MyStays and Averagerice. Told you that was a big match. With considering Averagerice beat MyStays, those 2 teams are both now 7-0-3. And we'll have Rouge's Gallery likely going to 7-1-2, so it'll actually put them in first, but only by 1 point. So both Averagerice and MyStays are strongly in contention there, still only behind by 1 point. We have 3 teams vying for the top of this. 4, with Rage Dwarf being at 6-1-3, which is also very close. Fogmire Fenbeasts 6-0-4. If some more of those, and same with the economy of scale, if some of those losses were ties, they might be more in the running. But that with a lot of those being losses, that kind of pulls them back a bit from the top of the table, certainly. Great Cold Ones will go up to 5-3-2, but that's not really good enough to put them in striking position. We do have MyStays and Averagerice on 21. So if I pull up, I think I did this wrong. I think I inputted. I did my updated my simulations today, but if I recall correctly, I think I accidentally switched the score of the Averagerice and MyStays game, so it actually predicted I had put in that MyStays had won, so his numbers here are kind of wrong. But essentially, it's MyStays, Chorf's, Rage Dwarf, Averagerice Joe's, Economy of Scale, and Great Cold Ones sort of still in the running. I won't give the exact numbers because they're wrong, because I did it wrong. I can try to update it for the YouTube video description tomorrow. But the most likely teams at this point are MyStays and Rouge's Gallery. I think Averagerice Joe's are up there as well. And they'll move up with once I fix the simulation, certainly.
And now that I have to pick another team, I pick Mr. J. No, I'm just kidding. I won't play that game. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a real close race. We've got 4 teams within 1 point of each other, basically, or 2 points.
Yep.
So
with
the last few weeks are going to be exciting. As someone mentioned, Unseen Walker does get a bye in 2 weeks, and he's the only one at the top of the table that gets a bye.
Yep.
So that does help his chances of making it. But yeah, it's going to be tight.
It certainly is. Although, if I recall correctly, Elements of Style mostly plays more of they've already played all their top of the table matches, so a lot of their other ones are more bottom of the table ones. So if you go by like records as a predictor, they probably have their more easy matches coming up potentially, which will keep them up there.
The Khemri is going to be a bit tough, not to win but to survive, I think. He then plays the Lizards, the Dead Wrestler Society, and then he plays BioWare for Life, the Vampires. So it's not like easy games, certainly.
No, but they're more bottom of the table rather than he's not playing he's already played the Dwarfs, he's already played Averagerice, he's already played the Chorfs. Like those matches are done for him. And if I'm seeing this correctly, the Averagerice Joes just have Lizards for the rest of this. They're playing every other Lizard team for the rest of the league. So enjoy that. Yeah, Averagerice Joe's Dead Wrestler Society, Averagerice Joe's versus Economy of Scale, and Averagerice Joe's versus Fogmire Fenbeast. So enjoy 3 straight Lizard mirrors. Oh man, I would hate that.
Yeah, it would be your personal hell.
Yep. Teams?
Shall we look at the teams? Yeah, starting with a Lizard team.
Surprise! There's a lot of them.
He's eaten an MNG on one of his block guard pieces. Sad days.
Yep. Bunch of injuries on these Lizards. This is the Armor 6 skink. Yep. That's my own personal hell, Averagerice, is the thing you're about to go through. Good luck. I believe in you. But, dear God, would I not want to be you?
I like Lizard mirrors.
I don't like playing Lizards.
I am Lizards.
Period. Team. We're looking at a team.
We are. It's got a niggled Strength 5 guy. I think it's always had a niggled Strength 5 guy. But
yeah, Movement Busted Saurus and the Armor Busted Skink have been things that have been around for a while, I think. That Skink must have leveled pretty recently because he's at 87, right?
Yep, that's one before Legend. Mr. Perfect. Not so perfect anymore. Might die.
No, but he's got Catch, Agi, Sidestep, Sprint, and Shore Feet, so that's kind of cool. Missing the plus movement that you'd like there, but it's just a matter of you're never getting rid of an Agi 4 Skink, and if you don't roll doubles, what do you give him? And the answers are, well, Agi skills, so Sprint and Shore Feet.
Yeah, I mean, if I get one more normal on rocks, I run out of good non-situational normals to give to him.
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem if you don't roll doubles on developed pieces or pieces with limited development potential, I guess. But he's Agi 4, so you're never going to want to get rid of him. But if you only roll normals, you get normals. A lot of break tackle on the Saurus, which is kind of cool. Makes them a lot more mobile, especially now that they've picked up block and guard. So they can move that guard pretty easily. You know, one of the weaknesses of Saurus certainly is that, you know, here you have a zombie and you have a zombie and you have a zombie, and then 3 of your Saurus are just punching zombies every turn, and if they don't break armor, they're just kind of stuck there. But break tackle totally removes that because they can just dodge out on a 2+ now. So that's super great to see. And we got a couple tackle thrown in there to help out against the dodgy teams. And, you know, one developed skink and a bunch of nothing skinks, which is great for keeping that TV down.
Indeed, yeah, it's a good team. I think it looks basically how it looked the last time we looked at it. which is a lot of looks in a sense.
This is a bigger lizard team, rolling red in the Fogmire
Rolling
from
red,
Beasts.
yes, it is indeed, with its 2 frenzy murderers, one of which has picked up guard now, and the Blodge guard AV up guy exists.
The movement and armor busted Saurus.
Yeah, it turns out leap on Agi for dodge stunty is usually not a good call.
It doesn't actually help. Like, the only time leap does anything there is if you physically need to leap over somebody to save movement, because other than that, it's worse than just dodging, because it's a 3+ either way, and the dodge has a built-in reroll.
I'm pretty sure he was joking.
Fair enough. Which is why Goblin Pogoers are kind of weird, because they have leap, but also dodge and stunty.
They're a bizarre piece.
Yep.
The piling on Mighty Blow AV8 guy still exists. I feel like he should be fired. You keep the guard guy for... No, I mean, he's got to go too.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces that need to be recycled here. I think the movement armor is the first one, but the problem there is
you can afford to cycle the guard right now. But I would cycle 2 thumbs up.
he's 1 SPP from leveling now. That feels bad.
He's not going to be better when he levels. He's going to be, hogging up even more.
What if he rolls plus armor? Then he's fine. He's just back to normal.
I hate you.
I like the Blodge Step Saurus. That's kind of annoying. I mean, he's annoying, but he doesn't have guard. If once he gets guard, he'll be amazing. But right now he's just sort of there.
As we've discussed at length on the rookie server, sidestep is usually worse than stand firm, and it costs 10k more.
That's true.
Right? So why would you get sidestep on a double when you can just get stand firm? I mean, if that was guard, if he had 2 Blodge guard pieces, he'd be way better off.
You can sidestep into like weird places that would be annoying, but only if you had guard. So I think it's not really. It's kind of funny, but I don't really think it's worth it.
You can also play around sidestep. You can't play around stand firm.
You could just roll POWs.
Sure, but I mean, you could even. I mean, if you POW a sidestepper, it's the same thing. But you can just block the sidestep options and play around the skill, right?
Yeah.
You can't play around a stand firm player.
Not really. And then no crazy skink, but we do have a Blodge Step skink, which is certainly nice to hold on to the ball to, and then a diving tackle one to be annoying with.
Yep. And other than that, no skink development, which at this TV level is probably. Then Hufflepuff Heroes.
Yeah, well,
down a Tomb Guardian and now has a new one.
Shadorra is also the type of person who's like, my team is dying, it's on the verge of a death spiral, and he's got a 1900 lizard team. Like, he will complain and advocate for the sacking of literally any injury.
I mean, lizards are strong because they can, stand around, take punches, and be in the way. And an AV8 piece needs to be protected. I have 2 AV8 pieces. They're annoying. They are too good to fire, but it's only got Mighty Blow piling on, and I don't like piling on Source anyway, so of course I want you to cycle it.
Here is the Khemri team. We just lost a Tomb Guardian, unfortunately. This poor set of Tomb Guardians, they just cannot keep Tomb Guardians around, except for this ridiculous one who has rolled 4 doubles in a row and just elected not to take the 4th one because there wasn't any point at that stage.
He is complete now at Blodge Tackle Guard.
Yeah.
Expectro Patronum is new. The other one died.
Yeah.
Tomb Guardians do.
Unfortunately. And then stat freak team, really, right? Agi Blitzra, strength skeleton, Agi skeleton. So we got a ball carrying skeleton. We've got more strength because that's what Khemri needs. More agile killer in that Blitzra. And we've got a newer Blitzra who's got jump up immediately, which we've had this discussion a million times before. While not useful now, sometimes in an Eternal League, you kind of don't want to pass up the doubles. If this was
pass it up on the first level.
It depends, how you want to build it, I guess. But if this was a 1-season team, kind of like you're doing a tournament or whatever, this is dumb because it's not going to help you win your next few games. But in a league
it'll be a long way until he gets Mighty Blow and piling on.
Yeah, for sure. But when he gets there, it'll be great. And what if he never rolls another double? I don't know. Some people will play this way.
What if he dies before he gets there?
And you get a new one. It's an Eternal League team. It's fine. Then you just... it happens.
I'm not having this argument like we do every goddamn week.
I mean, I'm not saying I would do it. I'm just saying I understand the people that do.
Fair enough.
I don't think I would do it either.
Lots of stat skeletons still. He's got a strength and an agi up skeleton. So 2 sure hands players, one of which is agi 2, one is agi 3. Always nice to have the more secure option with Khemri. I think the sure hands is pretty new.
Yep. Looks like it. 35 SPP, so probably got that recently, which is good.
I'd almost be tempted to get rid of the throw raw at this point.
Well, he's got leader on one.
Yeah, but he's got 3 rerolls anyway, so what does he need the leader?
I mean, he did get rid of a throw raw. He only has 1.
Jump up is for ninjas only, indeed. So the block guard skeleton is obviously amazing. The plus agi block sure hands one is interesting. I don't know, yeah, because you're carrying 140k on this throw raw, and I really don't know if it's worth it. Like, what value is it giving you as long as this guy doesn't die? But I guess the problem becomes sometimes that guy dies or has to be on the line.
Yep, and Blodge, leader, you could always have the option of dropping a reroll to save some TV if you want. One of these guys, like with Khemri, I think it's always worth it to have 2 because one of them is going to die eventually, and then you're just screwed, right? If you only had that agi skeleton and you didn't have a throw raw, and then you lost that skeleton early on in a match, you lose. Like, good luck winning without anybody capable of picking up the ball.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then a kick skeleton. No dirty player skeleton, which is disappointing, but that's okay. You'll get there.
Skeletons die. I'm sure he had one. Jump up does have utility. Just not enough, It is useful to have someone who can get up and move around a bit and to have it on your fastest players. That's certainly like a beneficial thing to have on Khemri. Mr. J does not have 2 games, only has 1 game to
You skipped
so
the vampires.
Oh, I did. They're so sneaky. They hypno-gazed me.
BioWare for life. My cat is scrumping around like an idiot, or like a cat at night, I guess. 4 vamps, so we haven't moved up to 5 yet, but we still do have 5 rerolls. 1 vamp with block Mighty Blow, 1 with Blodge, 2 more with block, and they're like all of these guys are so close to leveling. That's 3 SPP, 2 SPP, 4 SPP, 1 SPP. This next game could be massive for BioWare for life if it goes well for Dire Sick Fish. More Blodge, like a tackle piece. There's a lot of good stuff, and you could level all those vamps next game, which would be pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do here. You got a lot of SPP versus the lizards, so
yeah, that's really nice. And with all of them leveling at once, that's super good. Like, if you can level all of them at once, that's so good, because you just see what all of them get before you have to decide on skills, right? It's you don't have to worry about, oh man, do I take this doubles on this guy even if I don't really want it because I really want this skill. And maybe my next levels won't get it, or I'm a ways away for that next level. Doesn't matter. If you get 3 of them at once, you're like, exactly what's coming up. So you can build your team kind of exactly the way you want, which is really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'd fire Deacon Scalesinger. I don't know if you need 2 kicks. You can get another dirty player.
Yeah, you don't need it. Yeah, I mean, you could drop 40k by just firing him and buying a new thrall. You want a massive bench, but you don't need 2 kicks. And you already have a dirty player and you already have a kick. So I would probably fire him.
Yeah, did you say doubles on Vamps? Vamps have, every access other than fast.
Yeah, that was in general. Like, not necessarily specifically Vamps. If you level up a bunch of players at once, it's nice to know what all of them get before deciding, essentially.
Sure. It lets you build the team in a more, structured fashion.
Yeah, well, and on Vamps too. On Vamps in this case, right? Like, if his next game was against somebody dodgy and he only got 1 level, he'd be really pressured into taking tackle, even if he was taking it on, like, the block guy rather than the block Mighty Blow guy, which you'd probably rather have it on him. And if only the block guy leveled and you were pressured to take tackle and you took it there, it's not necessarily exactly where you want it right now, but if you level a bunch of them, you can choose exactly where those skills are going to end up in a more reasonable way. So you get to build your team the way you want and prepare for your next game. So that could be really good. But yes, I don't mean doubles for vampires because that's silly.
Indeed. Good looking team though. The wrestle thralls are nice.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much all you get on thralls. Wrestle or dirty player, and then fired and replaced with a new thrall.
Yep.
Okay, now we can look at Mr. J and his Chaos Dwarfs.
Again, not a lot of development because hasn't gotten his admin resolved yet. So
Yep. He is probably hoping for it to go to Captain Cold because that would level him, or Grundy the Second because that would also level him, or even just Batzaro the Third because he's totally naked right now, and you'd like to start working on that a little bit. But that's 3 of your one of your 6 Chorf options. That would be really nice to have the MVP on. So that's a pretty reasonable shot of getting one where you want it to be, which is nice. Hobgoblins don't have much, but that's fine. A lot of levels where you want it to be. Still an expensive Chorf team, but I mean, Chorf teams are fine when they're expensive. Other than that reroll, you don't need that reroll. Get rid of it.
every week.
Next.
I backed out. No.
Well, next we have the Bad QB squad.
They have a level.
Yeah, we don't have much to talk about for the Chaos Dwarf team really because we don't know where the SPP is going. So
Yeah, for sure. Skaven Thrower is getting a level here. Already has extra arms.
it's a good question.
On a normal...
Do we know if it's normals or not? I guess we don't. I mean, so general or passing? General, passing, or mutation? I mean, you could take leader, maybe, if you wanted to save some TV.
Leader or two heads, maybe?
Yeah, 2 heads could be good, especially since you don't have a 2-headed goblin currently to do that sort of nonsense. 2 heads would be good. Tackle would be good because he only has 1, and it would help a bit on defense rather than offense as well. I think I would probably do 2 heads myself if it was a normal.
I have not played a lot of Underworld. People are saying tackle, yeah, 2 heads, makes sense.
We've still got only the 1 Skaven Blitzer. I feel like he needs to replace that. Get another one at some point, especially since this one is niggled and it is going to die eventually. I love the troll though. Block Claw Tentacles. I mean, yeah, he wants guard and then you're kind of done. Like, what else? It's fine. You don't need anything else. Stand Firm, I guess, would be also annoying, but he's a long ways away from that. You'd probably want guard first. Let's see. Other thrower is a bit away. Skaven Lineman is only 4, and he's got Wrestle Horns, so tackle would be a good option, or potentially Strip Ball. Then some random Underworld goblins. I still love this guy, the Wrestle Horns goblin. I love him because Wrestle is a double, and he's still around, so that's super cool to see.
Yeah, for sure.
He's been around since like the start of the season, so I love this goblin. Grit Guts is great.
I'm surprised he hasn't died.
Yeah, me too.
Two heads or Wrestle Stunty pieces tend to implode. I mean, I'd foul a 90k goblin rather.
Oh yeah, probably because he's super annoying. I mean, him and this Skaven Blitzer are like the most annoying parts of this team, and I would 1,000,000% foul a niggled Skaven Blitzer on the floor. So he's doing well to keep those players alive, despite how big a target they have on them. He needs another Blitzer, and he needs more of a bench probably. It's a big problem with Underworld is if you lose some of your positionals, which are armor 7, you're now on niggled, you're now on stunty armor 7 pieces as your backups, which is kind of worse in a way. Although there's an interesting question there between like who you end up putting on the line. It's harder to knock down goblins if there is no tackle, that kind of thing, even though there's strength 2, blah blah blah.
I've done skink LOSs against Claw.
Yep. But yeah, he needs to get some more players, but he doesn't have a ton of money lying around right now. Fortunately, I mean that's the nature of armor 7 teams. Sometimes you lose players and they stay gone. Respectable gents in chaos time. We're missing that double niggled Chaos Warrior. He's gone.
Back in a different form, fresh and new.
So fresh and so clean. Yeah, so two totally rookie Chaos Warriors now. Although the ones that are around are Block Mighty Blow Claw and Block Strength 5, which are both really great. The Strength 5 guy could get Tentacles, which would be amazing. And that's only 6 SPP away, which is not unreasonable. still have 3+ movements, and we lost a double plus movement guy. So that's like, what, 5+ movement levels on this team over the course of this season? Which is
a lot.
So much movement.
Sir Hathaway is still around. I think Sir Hathaway probably needs to go, but I guess right now you can't really afford to.
No,
AV Bust is rough.
Yeah, he's one of your only 2 tackle.
And he's a blitzer. Like, he'll die eventually. That's less of a problem than it is on like a Saurus. So
that's all right. Then we have another tackle dodge guy. Still doesn't have block, but he has dodge. He's like an elf. He really is
building a killer. It looks like he's got a mighty blow one down.
He actually is an elf at sort of movement 7. Block mighty blow. Finally got a killer on the chaos team besides Fabio. So claw, tackle, piling on are in the near future. Only 1 guard is kind of annoying for a punchy team, but he did recently lose a bunch of players against dwarves. So, but the lack of guard against the dwarves really did shine and hurt him a little bit in that matchup. So.
Yeah, I mean, the dwarves just base you and sure you get your 1 or 2 Chaos Warrior hits, but then they just punch the building crap out of you.
Yeah, so some more guard on this team would be nice. He also needs a ball carrier. Like, there's a lot of things that this team is currently missing, but ideally it'll get there. Too many stats early potentially. They're cool, and I probably would take them because it's fun, honestly. But it slows down the development of the team in other ways. And this late in the season, not having things like guard can hurt your standings. My stays and the elements of style. The catcher picked up MVP, so he's on his way to legend. Although he's still like 64 SPP from it, so that's not exactly close. But he is the natural one turner with double plus movement, sprint, sidestep, sure feet. Really good. Let's see, we got another catcher, the block guard, sidestep one. Guard on an elf team is amazing. This elf team has 2 guard catchers. One of them is block sidestep, and one of them is just guard. And then we've got a defensive-oriented one with diving tackle, sidestep, and blodge to make sure the diving tackle stays on players. Super annoying. Niggled, but he's the kind of player I think you keep around and abuse until he dies.
Carbon has somehow not imploded, which is really surprised my stays, rather.
Yet.
He's got a War Dancer.
He's
got 2. Never mind. Titanium is still down there.
Yep.
Chlorine is a little battered. Probably still worth keeping around with the plus movement. Really nice piece. Plus movement, blodge, tackle, but he gonna die.
If he's ever on the floor, he's gonna people will unassisted foul him with no questions asked because armor 6 and valuable War Dancer. Grab guard tree is nice too. So it's a 3rd guard on the Wood Elf team, although one of them is on a tree, so it doesn't really count, I guess. But and grab to help with keeping players on the tree, and 1 turners if your catcher ever happens to evaporate. Couple linemen, not much to say about Wood Elf linemen. There's a Sure Hands Thrower, which is nice, just free built-in reroll and protection against strip if someone ever tries to sack the thrower. So that's good. He'll probably want to pick up dodge or block or something if he's planning on holding on to the ball, or if he's planning on throwing it, he can hope for doubles and get stronger.
He's already got effectively Agi 5 when he's passing.
Yep.
I like dodge, yeah.
Probably dodge. If you roll doubles, he could take strong arm and just be super gross, but
yeah, and he would.
Yeah, and a rookie War Dancer, but it turns out rookie War Dancers are good, so that doesn't really matter. Great cold ones with Eisenmike.
Eisenmike took some MNGs.
1150 TV, and yep.
And an AV bust on his Star Berserker.
Yep.
Yep.
So this next game is a Yeti 2 Ulfson lineman. seems like a theme. Yeti 2 Ulfson.
He also definitely had another Berserker, so that's a dead Berserker.
Yeah, that's rough.
Or something that was fired. Because he had like another Star Berserker with another double, because it was also dodge.
It's like 540 TV in MNGs. That's brutal.
Mm-hmm.
So the next game is going to be a little rough. At least he has a bunch of guard to help out, and the Ulfs that he has do have block and stand firm. Or one of them is guard and stand firm, which is good. None of these are like it's just the armor bust that's a permanent, right? These other two are just MNGs.
I think so.
Yeah, so you'll get those runners back, which is good. Considering they are both good. You know, Blodge, Dauntless, one of them is Guard. One of them is Mighty Blow, both with plus movement to be extra speedy and annoying. It's a movement 8 guard piece. Super great. Put that guard wherever you want. And then some linemen, you know, a Dirty Player one, a Fend one. They're Norse linemen. They don't stick around.
One, maybe Kick. I don't know.
Block, Mighty Blow, Yeti now has Guard, which is probably new considering this is 35 SPP. So,
yep, he had been sitting on Block Mighty Blow for a while, so we speculated, you know, predictably that he would get Guard.
Yep, and he did, and it's a good pickup. It's a good Yeti.
Quite good.
Averagerice Joes?
Yeah.
The Croxagore is MNG'd for his next game, which could be pretty big, especially considering how the rest of his games are lizard mirrors.
Well, he ate a movement bust even, so it's worse than an MNG. But
Oof.
Still worth keeping a guard stand for one around.
I would, yeah. Yeah, and then 4 guard, which is going to help a lot in the lizard mirror, I imagine. 2 block Mighty Blow, 1 block Mighty Blow tackle, so the Peter Lafleur being the blitzer there, with 1 tackle, so that he can go skink hunting, and while you use your sort of 4 guard Saurus to be worth more than 1 Saurus in the Saurus matchup, because you've got so much guard, it'll be difficult for the other Sauruses to get assist in. Skinks, couple Blodge Step, or 1 Blodge Step, sorry, and then another Dodge Sidestep. Both of those guys who have diving tackle, so once again, Dwight being incredibly annoying. You know, sure, he's strength 2, so it's not too difficult to block him, but unless you POW him, he's just going to sidestep and stay right on the guy that you want to dodge away with, and that's diving tackle, and that's annoying.
Yeah, I'd like to see him pick Frenzy, and I agree, having a Frenzy Saurus is good. I just picked up one myself. I usually put it into more of a utility piece, like block tackle Frenzy, but given that he already has this Mighty Blow one ready to go, yeah, I can Frenzy. We talked about this before because a bunch of these guys were ready to level.
Yeah.
And he did it a little differently than what I thought he would, but yeah, White Goodman, probably gets Frenzy.
Again, Agi 4, Sure Feet, or is it Sprint? I always mix them up. That's Sure Feet, Skink. So,
Yep, Sure Feet.
Agi 4 and extra mobile, or extra reliable on the mobile, or what? I don't know what that sentence was supposed to be. Extra reliable on the GFIs.
Extra reliable on the mobile.
Yeah.
The mobile home.
That's 4 diving tackle skinks, by the way. So don't dodge away from those skinks ever.
Diving tackle's a fake skill. That's fine.
Sometimes. Unseen Walker and Rage Dwarf.
The gross dwarves.
Yeah, well, they've got 1 MNG'd Longbeard. So they're down 1. And he's a good one, too. He's probably one of the better ones.
They also lost King Dwarf. I believe King Dwarf has died, and he was a Blodge Guard Dwarf. So he's a little trimmed. I mean, Dwarf is even AV busted, which is tough to carry on dwarves.
Yeah. Certainly true. You don't want to... He's really good, though. And they're annoying to re-level. And it's a guard. So, yeah. I'd keep him, I think. Really good Troll Slayer in Mad Dwarf. Furious Dwarf is a new-ish Troll Slayer. I know he's played at least a couple games, but he hasn't managed to pick up any levels yet. It'll be a little slow until he gets Mighty Blow, and then you can start picking up injuries, and he's played 5 matches and got nothing.
Yep.
So once he manages to steal an MVP and get Mighty Blow, he'll be well on his way to catching up. Runner is good. I don't even know what you give him anymore now that you've taken, unless he gets doubles. He's got block, he's got sure hands, he's got kickoff return, he's got fend. I mean, you hope for doubles, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to give him dodge.
Or agi, but you gotta get the roll for that.
Agi strength. I mean, any stat up on the runner is usually pretty nice.
Yeah, any stat up period I would take, other than armor, I guess. But if you get armor, you just take movement. So
yes.
We're missing a blitzer, right? That's Kingdorf that died, you said?
Kingdorf has died.
Well, we still have a strength 4 guard, Blodge, stand firm Dwarf, who's amazing. So
Lord Dwarf is pretty great.
yeah, then a bunch of dwarfy stuff, right? There's another Blodge Longbeard, there's a bunch of Guard, there's a bunch of Stand Firm, there's a bunch of Mighty Blow, and then we have the defensive runner with the Wrestle Strip Ball, so slightly difficult to level, but it doesn't really matter because he kind of has everything. I mean, Tackle, I guess, would be nice, but it's not as important considering you have Tackle everywhere else. And worst case, you get Strip, so the pushes from the dodge will still strip the ball.
Yep, it works out.
Economy of skill?
Yeah. The least large lizard team in the division.
It has one skink.
It does indeed, because the sidestep one is AV busted, so he's dead.
Yeah, probably. The Croxagore is nice, though, with movement 7, break, tackle, guard.
Yeah, I mean, break tackle on big guys is interesting. It's useful, but it is a little scary to be rolling 2/2+ to do the action. So that's something like 70% chance success.
Yeah, one of the big weaknesses, though, can be, especially on pieces like Beasts of Nurgle or Croxagores, where a lot of their value is them standing in a particular place rather than hitting stuff necessarily. Being able to, say, haha, screw you, zombie who's trying to mark me up and ruin my day. I'll just, at the end of my turn, roll the 2+ to see if I can put him somewhere way more useful. And I think it's pretty good. Probably not as a first skill, which is why we've seen it taken as a third one. I like it, though, because you can do stuff with it. Prevent one of their bigger weaknesses, which is the, getting stuck up on a player.
Yeah, exactly. If they're somewhere totally useless, or if they're on the ground or something, like something where they're really not providing any value and it would be several turns until they would be valuable, I don't hate the idea of break tackling them out. But
yeah, and it's
easier often to go rescue them than it is to roll the break tackle. But yeah, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you don't have the luxury of using the blitz to free up the Croxagore. So.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is that with skills like Prehensile Tail or Tentacles, having the big guy stand somewhere annoying is more valuable than having him hit a guy sometimes. So being able to reposition them to annoying places is really powerful. And then some Sauruses. We've got one with Break Tackle over Block First, which is kind of interesting. And then one is Block Frenzy, one is Block Mighty Blow. At least we have all the Sauruses now. He was down some Sauruses, if I recall correctly, but he's
suffered a lot of attrition. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're back up to the full complement of 6 Sauruses, and we've got one who's three of them who are within an MVP of leveling. So as long as the MVP goes to a Saurus, you have a pretty good chance of getting another one with block for your next game, which is always good. And then we have Jeff and the foul targets, although there isn't going to be much to talk about here because not only has he not played his game this week, it's very much looking like he's going to just be taking an admin loss and therefore not gaining anything anyway.
Yep. Kind of unfortunate there. Does have a great team. The target number 2 is still a disgusting war dancer. Doesn't have tackle or strip, but is really good at getting anywhere he wants to go with movement 9, agi 5, beliefs are 2+. He can surf people basically anywhere.
Yep.
And he can still jump into cages and kind of frenzy people out if he needs to, if the strip ball tackle guy is not getting the job done. So
yeah, on top of that, there is a strip ball tackle war dancer, so perfect.
Yes.
Good, another annoying catcher built for being defensive and frustrating with Lodge, Step, Diving Tackle. Good thrower. He's picked up Agi, so he's essentially Agi 6 for throwing, which is kind of good, it turns out.
Kind of good.
Yeah, strong arm, and we can long bomb on 2+.
He's nearly there.
just a double. Treeman with block and grab, so reliable and annoying. Helps with 1-turns since we don't have a natural 1-turner. And you can also keep people stuck up on that block tree, and it can be harder to... you're going to disincentivize people from trying to free them up by blocking the tree because he also has block. Sometimes people will take uphills against a tree or whatever because if it goes down, it has a hard time standing up sometimes. But with block, you disincentivize that a lot. And then, some catchers and linemen who have picked up just block to keep them on their feet. And then all Orknor play has dropped out of the league, so we won't take a look at them.
Prediction time.
Yeah, so week 11. Well, I predict Economy of Scale will win in the admin's call against All Orc No Play.
I'm gonna pick the orcs.
Okay. Foul targets and Rage Dwarf, so dwarfs and the Wood Elves. That's a really good dwarf team, and sort of traditionally, dwarves are definitely favored against Wood Elves because of all the tackle that exists. There's some really, like, as long as that Agi5 throw and Agi5 War Dancer exist, though, Jeff certainly has a chance to win that, pull out elf bullshit. But I especially since you won't have a bench, any removal is a big one for the dwarves. I think I want to give that to dwarves. Oh, you were just gone. Okay.
What?
I talked and then wondered why you didn't say anything, and then I looked at the stream and you were just gone.
I was gone for like 30 seconds to grab a pen because my pen was gone, and I didn't want to interrupt your monologue to tell you that I'd be gone for 30 seconds.
Well, who do you pick in Foul Targets versus Rage Dwarf? I've picked one.
I believe I will take Rage Dwarf.
Okay, that's what I did too. Dead Wrestler Society and Averagerice Joes. So that's Dranar's Lizards and Averagerice's Lizards. So the Lizard matchup. Dranar is going to be down a Saurus, and he does have the AV busted Skink and the movement busted Saurus.
Averagerice is going to be down his Crocs.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal, honestly. Especially since Road Warrior Hawk is kind of like a Crocs being Strength 5. So we're down a Saurus versus down a Crocs. But Dranar has 2 Croxes.
Dranar does. Dranar has half as much guard. But, yeah, this is going to be a tough one for Averagerice. Averagerice is actually at 1580 because he does have an extra skink. What is Dranar at?
Yeah, so he's at yeah, exactly that.
Dranar also has 11, so he's actually at 1640. So there's not going to be a crazy amount of inducements.
60k?
Yeah, so
Babe.
Averagerice can get a babe. Nothing that exciting. That's interesting.
Yeah, so on the one hand, there is sort of the strength advantage going to the Dead Wrestler Society, but there's the guard advantage to counter that strength advantage going towards Averagerice. We have the Agi 4 Skink available for Dranar. And there's an Agi 4 Skink available for Averagerice. Like, this is quite a thing.
It's going to be a really tight matchup. I think I'm going to give it to Averagerice. I've seen him do Lizard Mirrors before. I've always been really impressed. Yeah, I think my gut says Averagerice.
My gut also says Averagerice, and I think that's based on the guard advantage. Like, there is a strength advantage, but in a Lizard versus Lizard sort of mirror where we're going to have a lot of Saurus on Saurus, the Saurus with more guard are going to be harder to... They might not be able to knock down more, but they're going to be harder to knock down, certainly. And a Lizard team on its feet is a Lizard team that's winning. So I think I will give it to Averagerice as well because of the guard advantage in a mirror.
Yeah, if that one guard piece was up, it would make a huge difference.
I honestly think it would.
Even though you'd be giving away a wizard or more, maybe even Slibly if he scummed it. If he scummed Slibly, it would basically negate it. But yeah.
We have Fogmire Fen Beasts versus the Great Cold Ones. So we have an 1820 Lizard team versus an 1150 Norse team.
I mean, this is going to be brutal for the Norse. They have a chance if they get really good inducements. Like, they're going to get Cheney, probably, because Cheney is amazing versus Lizards.
So they're really at 1290 because they have 10k extra and they get 3 linemen, right?
So that is 530k?
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot. You probably want to pick up 2 star players to flesh out your bench a bit.
Yeah, probably.
A wizard. Wizard is always good versus lizards who tend to be kind of isolated from the ball sometimes.
Yeah, there's a number of star players they could pick up that would be useful. Certainly Cheney is amazing. Boomer actually wouldn't be terrible because he's really cheap, and it's just even though he's a secret weapon, it's still a 60k armor 9 piece that you can throw on the line for an entire drive and likely not get removed, and then just start fouling with him later, and that's really cheap. That's only 10k more than a regular lineman, and he's so much more likely to stay on the field. And even if he ends up free, you can start hucking bombs at Saurus. That might be reasonable.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think I'm still going to give it to Rolling Red, but it'll be an interesting match to see how Mike spends his inducements.
Yeah, I think I want to give it to Rolling Red too. It's just going to be really hard for him. It's like basically a rookie Norse team. I mean, there is the Claw Mighty Blow Block Yeti, which could do a thing, but he's not really that difficult to neutralize with how many Saurus and stuff exist.
He's going to get piling on. Like, I mean, he's going to get isolated is the problem. He doesn't have this. He's got the 2 support Ulfs, but by themselves they're not a team, right? So it's going to be, without the utility that the runners and the berserker offer, it's going to be a real tough match for.
Yeah, but a bunch of linemen are going to get crunched, and then afterwards it'll be an isolated Yeti and a couple Ulfs versus Saurus, and the Saurus will probably win.
Yeah, so unless Cheney / the Yeti like removes a player a turn, it's going to be tough, to say the least.
Hufflepuff Heroes and the Elements of Style. So we have the Khemri, and we have MyStays. There is a tackle for the Khemri on the Tomb Guardian. So there's a couple things to say here. I mean, one, I guess, big strength of the Khemri is that they have a lot of strength. Although it turns out the Wood Elves don't care. Like, it really doesn't matter how much strength you have against Wood Elves, because you're gonna get 2 dies no matter what you do anyway. Like, the Wood Elves care so very little whether you're strength 5 or strength 10. It doesn't really make a big difference.
Unless you carry on a Tomb Guardian.
Good luck. The other thing, though, is that the big weakness of Khemri really is that, they can't pick up the ball as well and they can't hold on to it as well. But we have 2 really good ball carriers and a Agi 3 option on the Blitzra too. So it may be not as easy to strip the ball from them, and you can't be like as aggressive as you would be against a normal Khemri team. Like, normally you play Khemri and you're like, oh, I can get like a 1 die on the ball carrier, I'll take it, because if I can get it down, then he's going to spend 3 turns trying to pick it up again, right? But that doesn't really work when they're all Agi 3, so you have to be a little more careful about your sort of opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Still gonna give it to the Welfs.
Yeah, I will too, I think. Mostly because it's a really good Wood Elf team, and they don't really care about how strong you are, and you're just kind of negating the biggest strength of the Khemri team. There's only 2 tackle, one of them is movement 4.
Yep, just gonna dodge away from them.
BioWare for life and the respectable gents. So we've got
interesting game.
Yeah, Chaos and the Vampires, where the Chaos are actually out TV'd by the Vampires.
Vampires can get pretty hefty.
Only 90k, but that's a bribe, basically.
I wouldn't hate it. There's no bench for the Chaos, so they have to be careful not to get out punched here. But the block Mighty Blow, and even the Mighty Blow Claw, and even just the Mighty Blow itself will do a lot of work versus Vampires.
The Mighty Blow block
does crumple.
Yeah, the Mighty Blow block Beastman is just going to be hunting Thralls all game, and if you remove Thralls, you remove the Vampire's chances of doing anything.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's an isolated Vampire, it's not hard to get 1 assist for a Horns Blitz on them, or even just a straight Blitz from Fabio, who can negate that armor as well.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. I don't know who I want to give this to. Oops, I didn't mean to back out of the division.
The Chaos don't have a good ball carrier is their biggest weakness. So
I think so.
The Vampires are going to have an incredibly easy time picking the ball off of the Beastman on defense, unless he cages incredibly well, like double cages. So it's going to be tough positionally for the Chaos to defend against the Vampires. But I think the attrition is just going to swing to the Chaos's favor, and it's going to be a big issue for the Vamps.
So are you picking Chaos?
Yeah, you want to contest it?
Yep, I'll pick Vamps. Mostly because I like the Vamps. Vamps are fun. Dire Sick Fish is a cool guy. I want to see him win. Plus, I want to see these Vamps get like 4 levels this game.
It's true. It's going to be really interesting to look at the team in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be rough, I think, for the Vampires, honestly. The Chaos are going to punch a lot of Vampires. But I think the Vampires, if they're lucky, and keep some of their Thralls on their feet,
there's no Mighty Blow spam, so if it's not firing on the 1 or 2 blocks or Blitz, they get a turn. It's not that bad. Like, it's not like it's Mighty Blow spam Dwarves or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, we need a contentious pick somewhere.
We do. Bioware for no, that's not
Rouge's Gallery.
Rouge's Gallery and the bad QB squad. Spoilers: Chorfs beat Underworld. They're Underworld, but with way better players.
Well, yes, these Underworld are going to get like 600k in inducements.
They're not home, sadly. They do have the cheaper star player stadium, but they're not at home, so they don't get that.
So they're going to go up 120k from Mercs, so that'll put them at 1270. So they get 600k in inducements. Take Morg.
So Ripper.
I mean Ripper for sure.
Can you get that strength 4 claw block guy in Underworld? I guess you probably can.
I have no idea, honestly.
Glort or something, or
A Glart Smash Rip.
yeah, that one.
He's the Skaven one.
What was the Dark Elf Blitzer from last season? Was it?
Oh, Cockrip Dong Smash. I loved him.
My favorite player, hands down. And he, of course, rolled Mighty Blow as his first level. So Cocker Dong Smash was the killer.
Yep. Underworld can get Bomber Dribble Snot. They can get Fez Glitch. They can get Glart Smash Rip, who's the Claw Juggernaut guy. They can get Morgan Thorg, and they can get Nobla Blackwart, and they can get Skitter Stab Stab. So they're basically Skaven in terms of star players.
Nobla's the... Oh, wait, never mind. He's Blodge, isn't he?
Nobla? Yeah, he's the Blodge Chainsaw.
Less good against Chorfs, it turns out.
Yeah, well, there's the Skitter Stab Stab, who's basically just a gutter runner. So giving a gutter runner to Underworld is actually not the worst thing in the world, especially
when they don't have a really good ball carrier. So.
And against Chorfs, where the Chorfs can't really catch up to you that well. The Bulls can, I guess, but still it's movement 9. This Fez Glitch is the Ball and Chain. Like, you could like go full on Goblin and be like ball and Chain, a whole bunch of bribes, like Chainsaw, see if it works out. Could be fun. I kind of want to see what he does for inducements. I don't really know because I don't play Underworld, so I don't know what's good and what isn't. But I'm really interested to see what he does there. But yeah, it's even with all those inducements, it's very hard to vote for the Underworld, who have, you know, a 1 Claw Mighty Blow Blitzer and then nothing for most of their team, and that Claw Mighty Blow Blitzer is niggled, and he's going to get Chaos Dwarfed at some point.
Yeah, so the Troll would have to really be a champion to win this game.
Yeah.
And that's our predictions, so...
Division 7.
Huzzah!
Boop. So let's see. Schedule for the things that happened. This one has rolled, so we can talk about what's happened. Surprise, surprise, the Mesozoic Mighty Men took an admin win over Armor Furnace because Armor Furnace has dropped out of this division.
Ben, would you like to know how many points you garnered in that last division?
0?
-1.
Nice. Good. I like it. Got to make things more even for the...
It's true. Your lead was becoming dominant.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
picking dumb things, and it came back to bite me.
I did that this week. So then we had Undead versus Human, Friendship is Massacre versus the Crawdad Zydeco Experience. We picked Human because we kept picking against the humans, and the humans kept winning. So we're like, well, let's pick the humans, and then the humans tied.
It looks, by the way, like Cake got all but 3 of his SPP on Skinks.
That seems about right for Cake.
Yep.
So a 1-1 tie between the Undead and the humans. Spike.
Oh, no, all of his SPP on Skinks.
Good, I like it.
Yep.
Spike the Meme Skeleton picks up MVP to put him 1 SPP away from leveling. Roll doubles and take Sneaky Git. And we have a Blitzer with Guard who levels up, so that's really nice. Human Blitzers are really important pieces, so getting levels on them early and often is great. Pretty even in terms of ball possession. 41 blocks for the Undead, 34 for the humans. Humans taking 4 KOs and 2 casualties. Undead taking 3 KOs and 4 casualties. So, despite the blocks being in favor of the Undead, the removals were a little in favor of the humans, which can eke out enough of a difference to change the result. But looks like we ended up 1-1 here. Maybe it was going well for Morally, and then the removals allowed the humans to tie it up, but not necessarily win it because they couldn't get as much of an advantage as they'd like. Um, block dice were pretty bad for Friendship is Massacre. A lot of stumbles, I guess, but very few POWs and a lot of skulls.
Or indeed.
Pretty much normal looking although very few stumbles for the humans. Not that that really matters. Oh, well, I guess there's ghouls. That could matter. Weird dice, I guess, in general.
Yep, kind of did poorly on a couple of things morally, but he didn't roll too many things.
Yep.
Bad armor, but it depends on where he was taking the hits. And humans have a fair amount of money well, so that can make the difference.
50% on going for it when he rolled 6, which is not great. Oh, that's the whole team. Sorry. 60% on going for it when he rolled 5, which is not great. But I mean, still only 5 rolls, so it's hard to give a real answer there. Well, ended up in a tie. Then we had the Authorcs versus Wood United, and proving you right, I guess. Doof takes the win. You predicted Doof, and I predicted Luke, and Doof picks up the win over Wood United 2-1. Orcs doing orc things with 24 armor breaks, 5 casualties of death, and 4 KOs sustained for the Wood Elves.
Jesus,
So
just butchered him. 50% armor breaks. I mean, even with Mighty Blow, that's pretty. I mean, it's not. That's actually expected, but still,
yeah,
pretty brutal. Looks like the Wood Elves just got pummeled to death. 3 injuries and 1 kill inflicted, 5 casualties sustained. So he cast himself twice on dodges and KO'd himself twice on dodges and GFI. So
yeah, just unfortunate for Luke, really. I mean, Wood Elves win this matchup by scoring more, like scoring a bunch before the orcs can kill you, and the orcs just killed them before you could do anything, it looks like. So very much a dominant game for Doof there. So well done. Unfortunate for the Wood Elves, but well done for Doof. Like, barely had to roll anything. Like, his entire dice pool is 5 going for it's, 4 pickups, 3 catches, and armor. Like, it's all he rolls.
Yep, and his armor was really good. I mean, it was nearly expected. So yeah, this is a pretty dominant showing.
Wood United rolling 7 leaps and failing 5 of them.
Oof.
Made 100% of his going for it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
but yeah,
7.
Unfortunate for Wood United.
His dodges were good too, 28 to 5, but that is a lot of dodges to have thrown, regardless of whether or not they were good or not.
Yeah, it is a lot. Well, he's trying to, he just lost players and was getting based up and stuff, right? So he just tried to get away from it. And...
yeah, it tends to cascade. Sons of Sam versus Norse Unleashed. We predicted the orcs would win, and lo and behold, they did.
Hey, I was finally right.
Yeah, Hiroto has been spiting us over and over again as he pulled out either like ties or wins, very narrow ties and wins. But this time, the Mighty Blow spam orcs took their toll at 5 KOs and 4 injuries. Thanks.
Yeah, only 1 KO for the orcs.
The Norse got 3 armor breaks on 42 blocks, which I think tells that story.
Yeah, it certainly does.
They actually outblocked the orcs, though Frenzy can do a lot of that.
That's true, yeah.
So yeah, a lot of SPP for Lord Teton.
So he's happy with that.
What is this? 11, 17, 20. 20 SPP, not bad.
I looked at the dice rolls. I'm like, that's a lot of 100%, but almost all of them are just 1. There was 1 KO attempt. There was 1 pickup. There was 1 pass. There was 1 catch. There was 1 pro, but it failed. 5 going for it, and some armor. But the 100% injuries. Just so little dice. Like, when a bash team is playing, like doing well and bashing, they have to roll so few d6s.
Yep. That's the way of it.
Yep. Norse rolling a lot more. A lot of Dauntless rolls, which is not unsurprising, certainly, because you're going to try to utilize that Dauntless against the Black Orcs. And it worked almost all the time, which is not unsurprising because it's a 2+.
Yep. Only sustained 15 armor breaks, which is actually a bit probably below average considering the amount of Mighty Blow. I mean, expected armor breaks would be 42%, so it's actually low even considering that. Even, like, there's some armor 8 pieces, but most of the hits you take on Norse are on armor 7. So yeah, his armor actually held up remarkably well, but on the 15 failures, so 15 armor breaks, he took 5 KOs and 4 injuries, which is pretty crippling. 9 out of 15 for removals is quite high. So
yeah,
really not much to be done at that point when your team just implodes.
We had the Rotting Snatches and Scaled Measures, so Nurgle and Lizards. We predicted the Nurgle to win, and they did. 2-1. Fevered Frankie Four Fingers, who is movement 5, picked up MVP to level him, so that's nice. He's blodge, so he could... I mean, he's blodge, so you kind of are thinking ball carrier, but he's also movement 5, which kind of makes you not think ball carrier.
He's also blodge guard. He's blodge guard stand firm now, which is an interesting Pestigore.
It is an interesting
blodge
Pestigore.
Guard stand firm. But yeah, it's interesting for sure.
The leader Saurus got MVP.
As he is strength 5, you absolutely want him to be picking up SPP now because he really needs guard, probably.
I want nothing more in life than Ankylosaurus Andy to eventually become legend and be like a really good player, except for his first skill, which is leader, and just have people 3 seasons from now questioning why the hell that was a thing.
Yeah,
like,
I also want that thing.
I just want him to be legend in like 176 SCP, like block, stand firm, guard, strength 5, mighty blow, tackle, like whatever. Leader? Why?
6 armor breaks to 21 really tells that story. On 21 armor breaks, he got 6 KOs and 3 injuries, which is just about average, maybe a little bit below. 2 KOs for the
Nurgle won.
1-6, yeah. I know the Nurgle won, so it tells that story. As in the Nurgle punched the shit out of
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought you were saying it the other way around.
Nope.
No, yeah, for sure. 3 casualties and 6 KOs is a lot. Doubling the blocks of the lizards. So... Nurgle outbashing lizards, which is kind of how you have to win as Nurgle against lizards. If you don't punch them and you don't remove players, you will not win.
Yep, it's worth noting that scaled measures pass 6 out of 7 KO rolls.
That's surprising. Did they have babes?
They might have. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we don't really have any way of telling. But yeah, they made a lot of them.
Yep. So. Could have helped. Made 3 loner rolls, which is never a good sign.
No, I just was about to say that.
Armor failed 56 or 44% of the time, which is pretty bad for lizards. But Claw Mighty Blow is a thing. Don't know how much of that is that, and how much of that is just bad armor dice. Yeah, real rough game for sure.
And yeah, then we had another Nurgle, but this time it was against Necro, and we predicted Nurgle would win, and they did. So. Another Nurgle pick. Ooh, the Beast got MVP. Always like to see that. They're so hard to level. It puts him 1 Kaz away from getting a 3rd level, which is great. Just hope you can block essentially. Werewolf getting Bitey McStab and Slash. The Agi 2 Werewolf getting MVP. Oof. I mean,
yeah, this is a really bad game for Cunning Fox Pup. He took a lot of damage. Yeah, 3 KOs, 8 injuries, 1 death.
9 casualties sustained and a death. That's 10 players. So at like guaranteed 1 player on the pitch at some point.
I think it double counts injuries and kills. I'm not positive though.
I don't know. Either way, that's a lot.
And a bunch of them were perms. So yeah.
So that's a ludicrous amount of SPP for the Nurgle. The Nurgle are very happy with how that went. Like not only did they win, but they also.
Would you like to guess what Cunning Fox Pups? No, don't tell him. Would you like to guess what Cunning Fox Pup's armor rate was?
No.
He had his armor broken 71% of the time.
Oh dear, that's a lot.
Yeah. That is a lot. I mean, a bunch of those were fouls. I think there was an expulsion on the Nurgle side, so I would expect, a good handful of fouls, but that doesn't explain that large of a discrepancy.
I mean, the Nurgle are really happy. They gained so much SPP and they won. That's 10, 16.
I don't think
21.
anyone would question whether the Nurgle were happy with the outcome of this match.
I mean, like 27 SPP in 1 game for Nurgle is like more SPP than I have gotten in like 3 games combined sometimes. Like, I would love to have had a game like this. Really unfortunate for the Werewolf of Wall Street and Cunning Fox Pup, but the Rotterhood are happy. But yeah, that's unfortunate for the Necro. That many injuries can really hurt a team, and sometimes it can just be not fun to play when you just have literally no chance of doing anything. So that's unfortunate. But we'll see what the team looks like in a minute or 2 here.
I'm yelling at Cake to tell us what he rolled on the skink. He didn't actually know that the SPP was assigned, so I got to tell him that 100% of his SPP went to skinks. always makes me happy to make Cake sad.
I agree. Where did you tell him that? I want to see it. I already just
I
PM
told
him.
in a PM.
Oh, you're boring.
I'm sorry. I didn't yell at him in public.
Yeah,
No, you opened Discord. It ruined my camera.
it fixed.
Archangel's Will and Yeti to Conquer. We haven't talked about that yet. Right?
Nope. I predicted the Norse mostly because I had predicted him to go to playoffs.
Man, you got fucking wrecked.
I know, right? Well, I predicted him to go to playoffs, so I was like, I gotta give it to Yeti to Conquer.
We watched this game. Oh, this
did.
game was so much fun.
This game
Go
was
back
amazing.
and watch the VOD on Ben's channel because this game had everything. It was outstanding.
This game was so good to watch. Like, go watch the cast. We cast this on Saturday because it was a top of the table implication. Neither of us we had like a really hard time deciding who could win this. We're like, both of these teams are really good. I have no idea which is going to win. Who knows? I think the way it was described is this is David versus Goliath, but we're not really sure which one is which. And well, you can see what happened. But man, go back and watch this game. It was crazy. Please go watch the VOD. But yeah, 3-1. At one point, there were like 5 players on the pitch for both sides. Like, it was just Blood Bowl 5s on a full-size pitch. It was super fun to watch this game. I mean, as expected, the Norse outblocked the Wood Elves, but the Wood Elves, like, they with their Mighty Blow War Dancers, they did really well to keep the numbers game even. Like, they had their players removed, and they were down players basically all game. But that's fine for Wood Elves, as long as you don't let it get too bad. And with their Mighty Blow, they were able to keep the numbers like within range to make it reasonable. Because, as you can see, 6 casualties and a death sustained for Archangel's Will, and 5 casualties and a death sustained for the Norse. So, ridiculous game. Go watch that.
It was Cake's on Cake's skink. The mega skink rolled a normal, so it's gonna get sidestep probably.
Oh, that's boring.
Boring. We wanted it to roll Agi, so it could be the most disgusting skink in the world. I mean, that would be plus Agi block sure hands on a skink.
But this game was dumb. This game was so dumb. Like, in the best way possible. It was amazing to watch. Go watch the VOD. It was very entertaining. This line right here is my favorite part of the whole game. The three successful, 0 failure fireball. The ICBM from space that just like totally swung the game.
We were like, this is definitely the wizard turn, and Ben was like, I want to bolt him. And I'm like, I want to fireball these top front 4 players. And he was like, fuck that, I'm fireballing these back 3 for reasons. And then it removed all of them.
Yeah. Well, it removed 2 of them, but knocked down all of them.
I think it stunned the other one too. Like, it 100% armor broke.
It was an amazing fireball. Like, the game was very much Norse favored for the first 4 turns, and it looked kind of like, oh, well, this game is just going to go Norse. It's over now. And then that fireball happened, and then the second 4 turns were so Wood Elf favored it was ridiculous. And then it was like even for a bit. Like, it just totally, like, the momentum swung back and forth so often. The score doesn't tell you everything about this game. Go watch it. We can stop talking about it now. After that, this is what the leaderboard looks like. So we have Tommy Too Tall, the Rotting Snatches, in first with 23 points, 7-2-1. We have the Lizard Men, Cakes, Mesozoic Mighty Men at 22 points with 7-1-2. Then we have Archangel and Archangel's Will at 7-1-2, also with 22 points. And we have Ironmaster, Yeti to Conquer at 6-2-2 with 20 points. We've got Galactic, the Rotterhood, and Nurgle at 19 points, 6-1-3. So, like, there are 5 teams, or 4 teams technically, I guess, that are within 1 win of first, and 5 teams that are within 1 win of, or 6 teams that are within 1 win of second. Certainly, like, it's still a tight division, being on week 11. And there's some more matches that could come up that could affect the results of that. Right? There's not all of those top table matches have been played yet, if I recall correctly. Like, Archangel's Will and the Mesozoic Mighty Men play this week, so that's one that certainly matters because they're both tied currently. Cake being in second place only on 2 TD differential. So that's a match that matters a lot. There's a lot that could happen in this division in the coming week or two, so very, very tight race between those 4 teams, and 5 if you include Galactic is it's pretty crazy. So this one, I'm pretty sure I did do my simulations right. And it currently has Archangel's Will and the Rotting Snatches with the highest chance of going through, and I think that's just because of the remaining matches that were left to play. Archangel's Will at 93%, Rotting Snatches at 73%, Mesozoic Mighty Men at 18%, Yeti to Conquer at 5.2%. That loss kind of hurt them, certainly. It made it a lot closer, but it hurt them a little bit in the long run. Rotterhood at 4.2%, Sons of Sam at 5%. They're still within it. So there's this, like, it looks really close, and there's a lot of things that could happen. And recall that, especially now, my simulation numbers are kind of bad, because it's going to favor Wood Elf teams pretty highly because they have high TD differentials generally. So it's going to predict them winning a lot of games where other people might get a lot of ties, and therefore the Wood Elf teams kind of shoot to the top. So take that with a grain of salt, certainly, but very...
On top of the additional grain of salt where it's a Monte Carlo simulation, so it's just like...
Oh, yeah, it's basically flipping a coin. But it flips a coin a whole bunch of times.
It does, which makes it better, because statistics. Shall we do predictions?
We got to look at teams.
No, we have teams first. Whatever. Doof.
I need beer.
The Doof. I had an entire 750 mil Dunham to myself because Tristan's not home.
I was gonna have one, and then we started this, and I forgot to get one before we started. So
I was gonna ask you what you're drinking because I've got the
nothing.
the potent tropical IPA from Dunham.
Maybe if I hold out my glass and look really sad at Emily, I might get something delivered in a minute.
I think she'll spit it. I'm willing to take that bet. Are you getting beer? Is that happening?
Yeah, I just looked really sad for a bit, and now I'm going to get one.
Are you sure it's going to be beer and not
Who knows? it might
Knowing
be.
Emily.
There's some old ham in the fridge. It might be that. So this is this is Doof's team, the Authorcs, wrong orc team. Cormac McCarthy taking a movement bust, which kind of sucks. But he's stand firm and block and guard, so he's kind of likely to stay where he is. On his feet, so that's not the worst thing. Keep guard in position. Niggled Blitzer is kind of bad, but he's blodge, so problem is he's also guard, so he's likely going to be basing people a lot of the time, so he might get hit. I hear noises that don't sound like beer. I'm worried.
Sounds like a meat grinder.
We got Mork Twain, the killer. It looks like he's probably... I don't think the pro is new. I think he was missing that for the last game, maybe. A lot of guard on this orc team. Another guard, blodge, stand firm, blitzer. A lot of control going on here. And then the Orksker Wild, of course. The Agi thrower. And Playtork, who's newish, but I think he's got an MVP recently. Yeah, that's what I thought. She brought me a pint glass full of apple juice.
Oh, it was the noise that apple juice cans make when they're opening.
I think so. Well, I think it was also at the back of the fridge, so she had to shuffle around to get it. And she did that because it's beer colored sort of, right? But she brought it in. I'm like, that's not fizzing, and then she put it near me, and it smelled like apples. I was like, well, okay, it's good enough because I'm really thirsty, but.
I was drinking some Bad Apple.
This pleases me.
The Bad Apple IPA at the wedding, and my family kept asking me if I was drinking flavored beer because it was called Bad Apple, and I'm like, no.
So the pro is new. I wasn't sure if it was or not because he's 56 SPP, so it's got to be pretty recent. So that's nice. Piling on tackle, mighty blow, pro. Try to get better blocks. If you can get jump up, that'd be great.
Guard on Socrates, so he's actually got 5 guard now, but it's guard is less valuable on blitzers because at strength 3 they're easier to push away. Not in the case of the blodge stand firm one, but in general it's more beneficial to have it on the strength 4 pieces. That said, it's still good to have that much guard, of course, and that will be helpful in the bash mirrors he has coming up. Yep. So I assume he has coming up because it's a pretty bash division.
Yeah, Playtork being 1 SPP away from picking up block 2 is really nice. George Orkswell is a cool lineman with wrestle tackle. It's neat since you don't have it on a blitzer. Took it on a lineman. I like it. And then the Orksker Wild, who we've seen before. Then the other orc team, Sons of Sam, Lord Teton. A more killy orc team with Mighty Blow spam, although we have a new Blitzer, it looks like, in the Bavarian Ripper 2.0. Yeah, he's only played 2 matches, so no... he used to be a player with Mighty Blow and stuff, so we're missing one now, but he'll get there. Only 1 SPP away from probably picking up Mighty Blow. Less control-y players.
3.0, the lineman has guard, which is nice.
Yeah, he does. It puts him up to 4 because he doesn't have as much on the Black Orcs as the other Orc team, I don't think. He's got 2, but they're also... they're not stand firm. They've gone block, Mighty Blow, guard, block, and nothing. So they're a little easier to shift. But we've got stand firm on the Angel of Death and the Alligator Man that both could potentially take Frenzy if they want to for surfing potential. The stand firm on the Alligator Man is probably more because of the guard, but you could do Frenzy on the Angel of Death if you don't roll jump up. Instead of an Agi thrower, we have a strength thrower, so that's kind of the same.
I like strength more, I think, because it just makes the thrower that much more reliable and harder to block.
I mean, he's just a runner, really. Like, he's kind of a runner, a very slow runner, but yeah, he's very he's much more difficult to knock down, way harder to sack, whether it be from like diving or from potatoing. I really like the strength on him.
Absolutely, yeah. Really good looking team. Has picked up a lot more guard recently, and I think that really will help him out. So,
skill measures.
Notniloc, a kind of battered lizard team. Javon DeBreakenjaw Jr. has eaten an MNG. He was already minus AV, so that's not new. And Yellow was already niggled, but has picked up guard, I think, recently, because 51 is the level he has. So he's recently picked up guard, which is nice on strength 5.
And Drome Soride has probably recently picked up break tackle as well.
Yep, which I like that pickup on a block Mighty Blow piece. You want that, that striker to always kind of be available, so always good. Wimp Croc Shakur has eaten a niggle. I don't think you fire a block cigar with niggle.
Probably not.
It is unfortunate, especially one that's about to level and pick up guard. I think you keep him until he dies.
Yep, and even then, you've got 2 plus strength source. So when he's around, you can have an entirely strength 5 line if you want.
Sure, but without guard, like... Okay.
One of them has guard. And
one?
And
well, oh, yes, he does. That's true. But he's only got 3 guard once Javon DeBreakenjaw Jr. comes back.
The Croxer will get it soon, probably next. But
yeah, once he's got a bit more guard, I think this team will be in a lot better shape. Right now, it's kind of...
I'm just saying 3 strength 5 is pretty silly.
It's going to be gross, yeah. I mean, his pitch control game is going to be on point. And he's got a bunch of Mighty Blow to actually to cause quite a bit of damage, so...
Agi 5 skink. Movement skink.
He's picked up block recently, which is huge, of course.
Yeah. It's so hard to use ball carry on Frog Jefferson.
I love Agi 5, but it's definitely a disgusting piece.
It counteracts the stunty for when you try to pass with him.
He passes like a normal elf at 210k.
Yep.
And he can pick up in tackle zones.
He can pass to the catch skink.
Hey, Bulbous.
But the catch skink he's on his way to. It's great that he got the movement on the catch skink because he's amazing for 1 turns already, and he's that much closer to being a natural 1-turner. So that's a really nice piece as well.
Yeah, for sure. I will say, Notniloc, thank you for being the only leader piece, or the only leader team we've looked at tonight that actually had the right number of rerolls. I salute you, and that I don't have to yell at you.
Yep.
Next up is Galactic's 19.
Why are there 2 separate leader sources?
What?
Oh, right. No, sorry. I was thinking. I was. Never mind.
Hi.
No, we were just looking at him long enough ago that I forgot.
Are you on the Devil's Lattice?
No, I'm on the apple juice.
That's what kids these days are hitting.
Yeah.
Our streets aren't safe anymore.
Rotterhood and Galactic. So this is one of the 2 Nurgle teams in this division, and it's not even the one that's at the top of the table currently.
It's the one I expected to be at the top of the table. It's my favorite development-wise, but he hasn't been able to translate it into wins.
Guard, stand firm, beast, which is exactly what you want, and he picked up the MVP recently, so 2 SPP from leveling. You'd love to get block if you can, or plus strength maybe on him.
Those are unlikely.
Those are the things you're really hoping for, because the rest of your levels aren't as useful now that you have guard and stand firm.
Grab isn't terrible on
break
this Nurgle.
break tackle is probably a good option so that you can reposition him if he ever gets stuck.
I like grab over break tackle, but yeah.
Yeah, either is a good one, but they're not as valuable as guard or stand firm, so it's like the level is less important now. Got all 4 Nurgle warriors. All 4 have block, and they're going in the full metal COS style of leveling Nurgle warriors, which is all of them get block, mighty blow, claw, guard in some order, depending on what you need at the
I don't
time.
know if we can attribute that entirely to metal, but yes.
No, but if you look at his 4 Nurgle warriors, they're all mighty blow, block, claw, guard in some order, not necessarily a consistent one. Depending kind of on what you need next, and that's, we've seen the same thing with Galactic here. Mighty blow, block, mighty blow, claw, guard, which is exactly the same levels as my killer Nurgle warrior, by the way. Block, guard, mighty blow, block.
This is the Nurgle team you wish you had.
It really is, because he has everything that I'm trying to build towards, but he hasn't had players keep dying every game, so he hasn't had to continue to rebuild them.
Because Galactic isn't trash.
It's true.
I've been told by Yup that we have to get on voice and cast our week 12 game as it happens, and that we have to shit talk each other relentlessly.
Sounds good.
Hey, look, it's Archangel.
Can I be there?
Who's been talking about him in chat. Oh, that's very nice, Bulbus. I hope your new recappers are also good. But yes, the Wonder Twins are the best.
Clearly. Yeah, this Nurgle team is everything that I want my Nurgle team to be eventually. It's just my players keep dying. Like, he's actually got the same things as I do, right? Like, I have a Nurgle warrior that's identical to High Lord of Rotborge. I had a Beast of Nurgle that's identical to his, but mine died. I want a ball carrier. I don't have one because mine died. I would love a Mighty Blow Claw block guy, but mine died. I have the only thing I think I have better is my my wrestle tackle piece is also dodge, so he's Raj tackle instead of just wrestle tackle. And everything else about this team is better than mine.
All right, when you're done drooling over the Nurgle, which is gross, let's go on to Archangel.
Guard is a good Rodder pickup, by the way. He's movement 4, but you utilize him until he dies, and you've got a dirty player. So Archangel, beating up Norse in one of the coolest Blood Bowl games I've seen in a long time. Mostly, honestly, on the back of these 2 Mighty Blow War Dancers being able to keep the game at an even pace in terms of removals.
Yeah, when we say that the game eventually was a game of 7s, we mean the
5s.
Wood Elves. I think he had more than 5, but the Wood Elves retained basically all of their positionals while removing the best players from the Norse. So
yeah, these War Dancers are gross. Tackle, strip ball, mighty blow, sidestep. Tackle, sidestep, mighty blow, piling on. Blitzing War Dancer, strip balling War Dancer. Both of them amazing. Grab tree. And then, that's kind of it, really. You get a bunch of block catchers, nothing crazy there. We don't have any of the sidestep diving tackle nonsense yet, but they're blodge, so they can stay on their feet. The thrower's got accurate, so not amazing yet, but he can basically Algae 5 for passing. And then some linemen are surprisingly leveled for being linemen, but there's a kick, there's some dodge. There's a blodge one, which is nice, because you managed to keep him alive long enough to get blodge, so he's going to stay alive longer. And then guard. Guard is always good if you can get it on Wood Elves. Only 1, unfortunately, but 1 is enough to make a difference.
So he's going to die sometime soon, but you probably use him until he's gone. I once had a discussion in the rookie thread with a bunch of Welf coaches, and they actually suggested that a niggled guard lineman should be fired. But who knows?
I guess it depends. On the one hand, he is going to die because he's going to be left based up against people. On the other hand, guard is so valuable for Wood Elves. Like, if he had 2, maybe I would consider firing the niggled guy, because then he at least still has 1. But 1 guard can make such a massive difference that I think it might be worth keeping. I don't know. Up to Wood Elves who know more about it than me, but I think guard is so important that it's probably worth holding on to.
That was my thought as well. Zwark and Squiggy did not agree. Next up is Yeti to Conquer and Ironmaster, who has survived mostly intact. I don't think he... Oh, no, he ate a movement bust on Alexander the Greater. That's right. Yeah. And MNG, I believe, on Vargol the Void.
I like how it's spelled greater, like cheese grater.
Yes.
And not great.
I refuse to acknowledge that joke.
I'm going to acknowledge it now.
It's because you're a bad person. He picked up guard on his ult first. I think he was hoping to have a bit more bash going into a couple of his upcoming matches, rather. And ults do level so slowly, but
yeah, but
did not help him versus the wood elves too much.
He needs guard for the bash matchups, and picking it up on the strength 4 pieces is great, even if it slows down their development. Otherwise, if you need guard, that's kind of where you want it. Yeah, two good berserkers. Alexander the Greater may be recycled at some point, considering I think he, like, Ironmaster had a big he was talking about this in chat while we were after the game that we cast of them, and on the one hand he's in a playoff run, so he kind of wants to hold on to the berserker, but on the other hand it's not really that hard to level a new one, and he's movement busted, so we may see a recycle there, we may not. We'll have to pay attention to that in the future. Thane Thunderthighs, the runner, just got sidestep and dodge. So blodge step on a Norse team, which is kind of cool. Then we have the Strength 4 Frenzy piece. We've got a kick pro tackle guy who's MNG'd, or is he also actually niggled? No, it's just MNG. He did play for a really long time with one berserker, so he's not averse to only playing with one, certainly. We'll have to see what he decides to do and how confident he's feeling about playoff runs.
Alexander the Greater was pretty new. He's only been around for, 3 or 4 matches?
Yeah, it's not really that hard to get a new one, honestly. Yeah. But it depends on if you want him for playoffs or not. So, I don't know. I think
he sticks around because it's in playoff contention. Someone said that during the cast, and I agree. Because he's in playoff contention, he needs to keep around. Cunning Foxpup, on the other hand. Ooh, boy. Rough game, man. He still has both whites, still has both flesh golems. The niggled ghoul died, and I believe another. You only have 2 ghouls on Necro, right?
You can have more than that.
I don't remember if he lost another ghoul.
You can have 4 on Undead. I don't know if it's.
I'm not sure we can have a Necro. He definitely lost the niggled guy. I don't know if it was the niggle that did it. His block zombie was.
Okay, you can only have 2.
Yes. That's what I thought, because they're spread a little more thin. Terrifying Peanut ate a movement bust. I think that's the end of Terrifying Peanut's career. At movement 3, he can't tie up players anymore because he just gets knocked down and pushed away, and then people just walk away without a GFI.
And that's mostly what zombies are for. He is blocked, so he could be line fodder, but if the players on the line ever leave, then he's just kind of stuck there. And, less likely to go down. The strength of zombies is being able to tie up players, and it's harder for him to do that now. Plus, they're cheap. Just recycle one, whatever. We still got the Murder Tackle Good, who's capable of murdering and tackling good.
Dead Guy Makes You Dead has even picked up guard, so he does have 3 guard, which is nice.
That's really good.
Or Necro do struggle to pick up guard pieces. Why you often see both of their whites as support rather than killers.
Yeah, because you blitz with the werewolves often.
Well, it's good to have some minor murder skills on a white, simply because you can't always afford to make the frenzy blitz. But you definitely prioritize getting guard.
Yeah, MNG on one of the wolves, so we'll be down to 1 wolf for his next game. But with the TV trimmed this much, maybe he can get chainy depending on who he's playing. So
I would hope so. At 1280, 1280, he's at 3, 6, 9 players, so he's got 2 more, so he's at 1360.
Yep,
1360 versus.
We can look at that when we get to the predictions.
He's playing the Wood Elves.
So yeah, he should be able to get another wolf in chainy there. Anyway, Nurgle, Rotting Snatches. This is the Nurgle team that's at the top of the table. Also 1900. Also with a guard stand firm beast. This one is less close to leveling. And the SPP is a lot more concentrated on this team. It was a bit more spread out.
It's a very tall team, yes. As someone once said of my own team, as Herringzord once said of my own team.
What do we think of Cunning Foxpup's Agi Busted Werewolf? He also has
Agi and a niggle?
No, I would recycle him, I think.
You gotta recycle him. Niggle on a wolf is just so brutal.
Not so it's going to be hard if you only had one or the other. It's probably not the worst thing in the world, but with both, if you happen to fail your frenzy, you'll be stuck against a player because you're not going to want to take the Agi 2 dodge to free him up. But if you leave him there, he's niggled and he's going to take a hit, right? So like you're just asking for that wolf to be removed at some point during the game.
It's not worth the double.
No, I would recycle him.
If he was piling on as well, maybe you keep him around because until he dies, which would be very soon. But no, but as it stands, I would get rid of him.
Yeah, a much taller Nurgle team. Bullet Tooth Tony is strength 5, block, mighty blow, claw.
It's really interesting to look at this team and Galactics because they're identical TVs. I think Galactics is a better team moving forward, but Tommy Too Tall's team wins games now because he's got the one amazing Nurgle warrior that just kills stuff. He's got the one Pestigore that eliminates a player a turn. He's got the super great support Pestigore.
He's got a
really great ball carrier. And it's technically a sacker.
And that's why he's at the top of the table now?
But I think next season I would favor Galactic's team because it's way more like generally built. It's got a lot more tools and it's a lot more like building towards that pitch control team where Tommy Too Tall is just like, I have one player that does this.
If his team can stay alive, certainly, as you know we've seen with mine. If you try to build for the long run and then your players keep dying, you just lose games all the time and there's nothing you can do about it. And it really sucks. The diving, we've talked about it before. The diving tackle Nurgle warrior is a little weird. I don't know if I agree with it.
It is.
But we have a great killer Pestigore. We got a great support one who's movement 5, which is unfortunate because they're your only movement 6 pieces. So movement bust is kind of worth more than it is on for another team.
Yeah. Blodge guards stand firm. You can't throw them away. So I'd keep them.
No, I would keep them too. It just really sucks, right? Like they're your only movement 6 pieces. So having a movement 5 one instead is just like, well, if they're moving 5, they're the same as a Rotter, except they have horns, right? Like
I think he used to be the ball carrier at Blodge, but I think he's gonna start using Toximosis Tommy more because he scored 12 touchdowns.
When he had Blodge, he was probably the ball carrier, and then as soon as Tommy leveled and picked up Agi, we're like, oh, switching, and then make him the ball carrier, and then you just switch to having a Blodge support piece, and then we've got a. Which is not something you always see on Pestigores because often the warriors will do that sort of role. But I understand what happened here with the little switch, right? It was a ball carrier and then you got a better one, so you switch them and you have to make them into something. If you could like build a Nurgle team from scratch, a lot of the time you'll have a ball carrying Pestigore, you'll have like a sacking Pestigore, like the wrestle tackle, you'll have the killer Pestigore, and then either another killer Pestigore or like a support blitzing Pestigore, like the sort of frenzy stand firm like surfing type one rather than the killer, but sometimes you always see 2 killers, so it's a little weird to have the support Pestigore, but it's a good piece and I understand where it came from. And Rotters, one of them is dirty player, awesome. Norse Hero to Sukara, beaten up Norse team, unsurprisingly. It's only 2 linemen who are MNG'd, although one of them is movement busted. He's kicking dirty player, though. You don't have another kick, so I don't know if I would fire him. I would try to get another kick, and then I would fire him.
Yeah. I don't know.
Kick is good. Movement 5 is not great, but I think I would try to get another kick lineman, and then maybe fire him. Maybe if one of your loners next game eats MVP, you can just hire him, and he'll be close to kick.
Yeah, that's fair. He still only has 1 runner, 2 berserkers, 2 ulfs.
1 runner isn't unusual.
He's had this ult for 1 whole game and it didn't die.
Amazing.
He didn't get SPP either, but
the other one is 1 SPP from leveling, and he's got.
And then he'll finally have some more guard.
Yeah,
which will be nice.
1 support berserker as opposed to a killer one, and then the other one is started with mighty blow, so he's on his way to being a killer. This lineman is a great ball carrier, and then we've got a runner with blodge, guard, and movement. So I'm more of a mobile guard piece rather than a runner, certainly, but. That's one of the strengths of the Norse runners is high movement and agi access, so easy blodge. So if you get doubles, you can make them into this piece, and if not, they can just be a runner as they are.
Yep, they're pretty cool for sure.
We can skip over slow, and then we have Wood United, Luke. It was a 1900-esque Wood Elf team, and now it is 1320. Tree is gone, which contributes to that a lot. 2 MNGs, one of them being an Agi 5 lineman, also contributes to that. One is Kick, which is surprisingly annoying for a Wood Elf team. Kick is important.
You lose a lot of pitch control being down that player. The Agi player is only MNG'd, thankfully. The Kick is also MNG'd, so nothing permanent. So the Wood Elf team is mostly fine, except for the dead tree.
We have 2 good word answers, one strip tackle mighty blow and one tackle sidestep, both really good word answers. Word answers are just good in general, but they're alive and they've developed. So, and one of them is 1 point from leveling, and that won't be hard with a mighty blow.
For sure. And I think the Robin Hood dancer is probably going to pick up Frenzy to kind of round out the utility on the dancers.
Yeah. That would make sense.
Pretty good. The catchers are pretty undeveloped. He's got one that is a nearly natural one-turner.
Yep.
Needs 1 push, and with sidestep, that's not hard to pull off.
Not at all.
Other catcher has picked up sidestep and sure feet, which is interesting because that's kind of also building in a one-turn direction, but he doesn't have any kind of general catchers. He doesn't have like a blodged one.
Not yet.
And I think that's a pretty high priority. Maybe he had one and it died because this Lux Beautiful Feet seems to be, or Beautiful Leaf rather, seems to be pretty new. Yeah, 1 match, 1 pass. So
we got a movement thrower, which is certainly good. He can keep himself a lot safer when he has the ball. And then some linemen. One is Raj, which is kind of cool, which is nice to see. We're missing the kick one, which sucks, but he'll come back. You'll just be out him for 1 game. Then we have...
plus movement on throwers is surprisingly useful, too, because you often have them in the backfield, and you're limited by their 7 movement. Like, they are one of the slower pieces on the Wood Elf team, so it's really cool to pick up a movement on that, because they often the one with the ball.
Yeah, so a lot of the times you'll see being like, do I make the pass now, or do I do 1 or 2 GFIs to make the pass slightly easier? And, well, you don't necessarily have to make that choice anymore when you're movement 8 instead of movement 7. And then we have humans at 1590, the Crawdads Deco experience. Block, guard, ogre, 2 SPP from leveling, so he's on his way to probably stand firm. Speaking of stand firm, there's a stand firm blitzer. Also got guard. So good support piece. Got a killer blitzer with mighty blow tackle piling on.
Yep. I still believe in Rock Lostrosity's ability to make playoffs, even though I think it's technically impossible.
I don't think it's technically impossible. It's just...
it's very difficult.
It's not technically impossible. He's, 7 points behind Kakengrad currently? So, I mean, he needs teams to lose a lot, and he needs to win his next 3 games, which are the only games that are left. But it's not technically impossible. He just needs, every team ahead of him to lose, and he needs to win all of his games. So it's unlikely, but possible. Frenzy movement blitzer, which is neat. Big surf threat there. And then another guard tackle blitzer. Picking up tackle, more guard. Only so that you have 3. I was going to say only 3, or 4, because you have a lineman with it too. That's good. Thrower being more of a runner than a thrower, with blodge.
Common on human teams, really.
Yep.
You might give them accurate for a short pass, but nothing too exciting.
Passing on Agi 3 is generally not your first game plan. But we do have a diving catcher in case we do decide to pass and the pass is inaccurate, which is not unreasonable, certainly, because a lot of your passes are going to be 3+, right? So it's basically kind of making that 2+ a little better because he still has a reasonable chance of catching it with diving catch if you roll a 2 on your 3+ pass roll. Guard block lineman is great. More guard, always good. Humans need that. And then a bunch of rookie linemen. SPP where you want it, right? The blitzers are the biggest. It's like orcs in that the blitzers are one of the biggest SPP sort of sinks that you want to have on the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cake.
And then we have Cake's team,
who hasn't leveled yet.
He didn't actually know that he had gotten results. So his disgusting plus movement, blodge, sure hand skink, which is all doubles in stats. has now picked up a normal finally. So he's going to probably get sidestep, as we discussed it, and that's like the best.
You could get sprint.
So he actually discussed sprint, but sidestep gives him similar options. Like it's good for the one turn, and also he's using him as kind of his all around ball carrier.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the sure hands, like the second double, I think I would go with sprint. But since he has the sure hands,
a nearly natural one turner would be definitely the top priority. But the sure hands changes that because he needs to be more of an all rounder. I think after this you get sprint and sure feet, possibly in reverse order. Lizards do not struggle traditionally to get 2 pushes on an LOS one turn, so you'd have to be in pretty rough shape to be incapable of getting 2 pushes.
Archangel does not like that skink. I don't think anybody likes that skink except for
skink.
Cake.
I mean that skink is almost as good as Rocks, and it's only got 3 levels.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? You're gonna hope a Saurus catches the ball, and then you're gonna strip it off the Saurus.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're gonna hit it with a tackle, and it's strength 2 still, so you still knock it over most of the time.
It depends. Yeah, as long as if Cake cages sort of with the 2 guard pieces, then suddenly it's not necessarily a free 2 die, but it's still a 1 die, and you can hit it with tackle. So it's a 1/3 to knock him over still. We have a guard stand firm Croxagore, so like standard big guy skills, but that's good. Bunch of Saurus, various skills. All of them have block now, which is good. We got 2 guard in there, we got a strength, we got 2 tackle, we got a mighty blow, we got a break tackle. Like, here's your list of Saurus skills post block, and then he like put them in a little salt shaker and shook them up and sort of sprinkled them around the Saurus. And that's what you end up with. It makes sense. I mean, there's kind of a narrow list of skills you want to take on Saurus, and those are most of them.
I don't love the tackle pickup on Triceratops Terry. He's already got a tackle piece, and lizards can't usually afford to have 2. I'd love that this was a guard piece. Break tackle guard is an amazing combination early on in lizards. Gives you that ability to have that more mobile support piece, and 4 guard is really when lizards at like 1600 TV start getting really gross. So I think I would have picked guard there over tackle, but maybe it was a meta pick, a niche pick because of the matchup he had going in that he knew he needed to win. I don't know.
And then we have the defensive, annoying sidestep, dodge, diving tackle skink. If he gets blocked, he's even more annoying. But sidestep and diving tackle is a gross combination. And then we have Friendship is Massacre, Morley, Captain Bubsy. Poor guy. This team is basically dead.
Yep. Problem with Undead. When they collapse real hard.
Yeah, he's having a good time, though. He's enjoying his last few games, not taking them as seriously. We've got a block mummy with guard. The movement mummy died, unfortunately, so he's no longer controversial because he's dead. 2 whites, one of them is new, the other one is guard mighty blow, so at least we have 2 guard. Twilight Slaughter is still alive somehow. The niggled, blodged, agi, sure hands ghoul. I wonder if anybody would be willing to pick that up. If you put that on the player market, would anybody be willing to buy that?
I think the market would buy it. I don't know if anyone would buy a 170k niggled piece.
Depends on how much money they had available, I suppose. If it wasn't for that niggle, that ghoul is ungodly. But that niggle makes him he's still ungodly, but because he's not going to get hit that much being your ball carrier, honestly. But it's just so much TV and such a good player that you're going to end up relying on, who could die at the drop of a hat. But it's a really good player, and you certainly keep utilizing him. But I don't know if anybody would be willing to spend the money on the niggle.
I mean, I don't know if he's going to make it to the market, given that he has to play some pretty nasty teams on the way out. So
it's a good point. Then we've got a ghoul who's on his way to being a more sacker based with Wrestle. However, he picked up a movement bust, which is really not what you want on the sacker, sadly. Spike, the best skeleton in the game, still exists. 1 SPP from a new level. If you're dedicated to re-rolling this team, I vote you level Spike, roll doubles, and take Sneaky Git. Just to annoy everybody, except for me. Block Zombie. This one is not movement busted, so he's still really good. And a kick piece. So, lost a bunch of players, and it kind of collapsed pretty hard. We're down to a bunch of rookies, but some of the players that are left are still pretty good ones. That mummy's really nice. Somebody would definitely buy him. If you want to see Pinky Die stay around the REBBL, somebody would buy that mummy, I would imagine. And then a admin win team that doesn't need to be there. Shall we?
Does not indeed.
Shall we predict?
Let's do it.
I predict the Sons of Sam.
Good for you. Scaled measures versus the Authorcs. Notniloc versus Doof.
Hasn't that match?
Minors rematch.
Has that match happened before?
In the minors? I don't know.
Who won it?
I mean, it
I
has
that
happened
one.
because we were in the same division, but
So we got Doof's orcs, and then we have Notniloc's lizards. Lizards are going to get a bunch of inducements, I think. They're down. They're down a Crocs and a Saurus, but they're going to get. What, does Doof have any money in the bank? He does not. And the lizards are going to. Are they down to less than 11? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
they have 8, so they're actually at 180k plus that. So 1520. No,
How much is a skink?
1560. Skinks are 60k.
So 1560.
So they're 1560 versus Doof's
220. That's Slibbly.
That's Slibbly. Slibbly will help. I still think the orcs are gonna win. It's gonna be tough.
Being down a Saurus and being down a Crocs is rough.
One of them being guard. So
yeah, but you can get Slibbly, and you have two strength 5 Saurus. One of them being strength 5 guard. Although strength 5 guard is Niggle. Although Doof is less of a mighty blow spam orc team, more of a guard spam orc team. I guess the question is, do we think 5 guard with mostly strength with some strength 4 is better than 4 guard, 3 guard with strength 5? Plus the Agi skink could do some nonsense. That exists.
Doof also has a bench, so he can cause some more attrition. Though with Slibbly, he'll also have a bench. It's gonna be an interesting match. I think it's closer than I originally thought. You want to pick one and I'll pick the other? I'm fine with either option.
Yeah, same, really. I don't know. I really don't know.
Hold on.
What are you doing?
I don't know why I'm going to roll 20 to flip a coin, but that's how it is.
Just Google coin flip?
No, this is more fun. I'm joining our torchbearer game, actually.
I mean, just do this. I will do it way faster.
No, it's better this way. Heads or tails, Ben? Heads or tails?
Tails. You got tails according to the Google coin flip.
You got heads, so I don't actually know what that means.
I don't know. You're the one coin flipping. I don't know what the point of that was.
I'm gonna take skilled measures.
Okay, I'll take Doof then, I guess, and we'll make it a contentious one. Good luck, Doof. I believe in you.
I think Doof is still favored, but I'm willing to make a silly pick. The Rotterhood versus Friendship is Massacre. That's got to go to the Rotterhood. That's a bad matchup for Undead at the best of times, and this is not the best of times for that Undead team.
Yeah, I agree.
They do get a ton of inducements, so that's going to be interesting. But,
Hiroto, yeah, there was some
7,
this team
9, 10, 11.
has a lot of dead players. We did comment. I think that a lot of the discussion was around what you do with this lineman. Kick is really good to have, but movement 5 is less good to have. So we were debating what you do, and for a bit was a bunch of the discussion around your team, and then I talked about how I really like this ball carrier, and I like this runner too a lot. Was most of the discussion there, but yeah, no, I agree. I think the Rotterhood takes the Nurgle against the Undead, and the Nurgle is more built for it.
In case anyone was ever interested in what a game DM'd by Steak looks like, this is the last image of what our play screen looked like.
I don't know what you can what you're doing.
You'll see. I have to go to Imager because apparently you can't just direct paste images into Twitch, which makes sense, I suppose.
So games. Yeah, the niggle is, or the kick is very valuable. I think my thought was, since you're going to have rookie linemen anyway, if the run you have as a rookie happens to pick up MVP, you could probably just buy him and then start putting him towards being your next kick player. Is a thing you could do there. But because kick is really valuable, certainly. But you don't have anybody else who's close to getting it, or you'd want to give it to. Like, you don't really want to give kick to one of the tackle guys, and these guys are never getting kick, obviously. I don't remember what any of that was.
I mean, I think the weird, overly enthusiastic kid was Colin's character, and then I don't know what the Wololo guy was, what the guitar was all about.
I don't know either. Well, that was one of you. I think it was that was probably you, honestly.
Probably.
The 1, 2, 3 boxes there were like the combat mechanic thing for Torchbearer, and then the little map drawn is like where we were. That was the room at the top there with all the little circles in it was like a tomb sort of area, like a burial chamber. Those are all like little alcoves with things in it.
I mean, if you scroll down, there's a room called Rock, underlined with exclamation marks, and the room next to it is called Blood.
There's a big rock, and this is the fun corner. You walked around the corner, and there was an ooze coming down it. Anyway, back to things. Rotterhood and Friendship is Massacre. You're going to give that to the Rotterhood. I would agree, certainly. They have got the tools to crunch some mummies, and if the ghoul dies, I think it'll die in that game. Archangel's Will and the Mesozoic Mighty Men. This is one that actually matters a lot because these are both top of the table teams.
What are you gonna do, Archangel? He's got sure hands.
I know, right? I mean, we do have two like war dance. We have a war dancer who's like built for hunting skinks.
Yes, the tackle mighty blow piling on war dancer, and lizards can't usually afford to foul, though I would foul that war dancer.
Lizards pitch control certainly
has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So he does have one loner, so he's at 1680, and Cake is at 1760.
They're only two. There's only going to be two players.
Unless they have very similar TVs because Cake is actually at 1650, 1660.
There's only two players unless you count the tree. Then three players on Archangel's team that don't have dodge. So the second tackle might actually be a little helpful for Cake here, but that is only two tackle, and it's only two tackle. But honestly, lizards are a match, or lizards tend to struggle with wood elves in general, just because they're a strength advantage team, and wood elves generally do not care how strong you are because they just don't bother getting into that battle.
Yeah, I think the Welfs are going to win, but I have to predict Cake because otherwise all of my picks are going to lose and not make playoffs. So I predict Cake.
I will take Archangel because I think the Wood Elves have this. I think that after watching the game against the Norse, I just want to see more of that nonsense. I would like to stream that probably if you guys... Cake might do it, but if Cake is not going to stream it, I would like to stream that if you want to let me know when your match time is. Or put it in on REBBL.net, and then I can claim it, which will be kind of cool. We have that new feature now. By the way, all of you people who are watching out there, on REBBL.net, if you click on there's an upcoming matches function now. So on the front page of it, there's a button you can press that says upcoming games, and it'll just show you all the games that are scheduled for the near future. And those of us who have Twitch accounts connected to it, like who are known as streamers, have a little extra button where we can claim matches to stream. So it's kind of a cool little mechanic. Although you guys have to put in your matches on, it doesn't automatically pick them up from the REBBL thread. If you click on account on the REBBL page, there's another button that says match, and it'll show your upcoming matches, and there'll be little boxes where you can input your match date. So you guys should do that so we can see when they are, and I can claim them and potentially stream them if they match my schedule. So that's a really cool thing that you can do with the amazing REBBL.net. So give Major Bite your love or money or whatever. Blowjobs. I'm sure he would accept those too. It's a really good website. Shadorra is gone because I was ranting about REBBL.net. It's really good. We have Yeti to Conquer and the Crawdads at Echo Experience. So we've got Ironmaster and we've got Rock Monstrosity. So this is the time where we've been sort of picking against the humans a lot, and the humans show that we're wrong. And then the one time we support the humans tie instead of win. So who knows what to think about anymore. Who knows? Let's see. Yeti to Conquer. It's Ironmasters, 1700 Norse. Versus, so we got 2 guard here on the Ulfs. Decent amount of Mighty Blow. Then we have the humans, who do have the ogre, who's also block. There's 4 guard here for them, which actually makes a bit of a difference against the Norse. They can make frenzy traps.
I'm back, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, I just jerked off rebel.net for a while. It was good.
I'm sure Major Bite appreciated it over in Sweden.
And now I'm talking about Rock Monstrosity and Ironmaster.
Yeah, that's gonna be to the Norse. As much as I want Rock Monstrosity to win,
the humans have 4 guard though, which certainly makes a difference because
it does.
It like encourages more frenzy traps for the Norse, and there are 5 frenzy players. The Norse only have 2 guard to counteract that. They do have 4 strength 4, I guess, which makes a difference. I think I'm going to go with the Norse too, but I'm not as gung-ho about it as you are. I think the guard for the humans is going to make a lot of difference, and Ironmaster is going to need to be careful to not frenzy trap himself because of it. But I think he still has the tools to be favored for that.
Yep.
Werewolf of Wall Street. Yeah, I pick Ironmaster.
Ironmaster.
Werewolf of Wall Street and Wood United. So we've got.
I pick the humans because I have to.
Do you? I thought you said you picked Ironmaster.
I mean, I think Ironmaster's going to win, but I have to keep backing my playoff plays because otherwise they won't get the energy they need for a Spirit Bomb to win.
Oh, I see. So we've got Cunning Foxpup, who's going to be down a wolf against the Wood Elves. So I guess the wolf isn't super important.
Well, he has Tackle, so he's a bit important. But yes.
Oh, that's true.
Tackle Mighty Blow is good. He's versus and Wood Elf United. Wood United rather has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players, so they have 3 times 70, so 210k on top of what they have.
Which is 1300, so they'll be at 1510.
Well, they're 1320.
But they have
right,
20k.
1300. Yes. So 1510 versus Cunning Foxpup has, we just discussed this, 1280 plus
1360.
Something. Yeah. So 1360. So you can get like a wizard, something like that.
Yeah, he still has 2 tackle available. One of them is on a wolf and one of them is on the Mighty Blow piling on pro guy, who's certainly going to do work. That's not I was thinking like pretty strongly Wood Elves at first, but I don't think it's as I don't think it's that straightforward.
No, I think this one can go either way.
No,
I think the Wood Elves will win, but I think it's going to be close.
I think the kick is surprisingly important. The kick is surprisingly important here, like the lack of kick, because it's going to be harder for him to utilize his movement without being able to put the ball where he wants to. The strip ball is certainly going to be really, really crucial for the Wood Elves because there isn't a sure hands on the Necro. So who are you picking there? You say what? Did you say Wood Elves?
Yes, I was picking Wood Elves. Do you want Necro?
I don't know.
Contentious picks. So many contentious picks.
I don't know. That's really hard. Like, I think the Mighty Blow tackle piling on is going to be a big deal. The lack of sure hands is also going to be a big deal. Oh God, that's so hard. I don't know, man. Why do you make me pick this? Why do we have this game? Why can't I care slightly less about who wins so that I don't have to think so hard? Stupid point system. Yeah, why not? Let's go with Necro. Let's make it contentious. And then we have the Rotting Snatches and the Norse Unleashed. I mean, I've got to back Tommy Too Tall, I think, mostly because, as we've been saying this whole time, he is one of my playoff picks. So I think I need to pick him. He's got some like kill players, but that really doesn't matter against the Norse. The Claw is essentially useless. The Mighty Blow is not useless. The movement is going to be really annoying. Like all the movement on the Norse is going to be really annoying for the Nurgle, honestly. Like their whole team is already as fast or faster than your fastest players, and then he's got 2 players that are even faster than that. So like the movement is going to be really annoying for the Nurgle.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, Ice Pelt. Ice Pelt Hammer Blow. Do it. I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually take Ice Pelt.
Would be interesting. I mean, Cheney does a lot of the same things and is a little more flexible and cheaper, I think. Ice Pelt is what, like 300k or something like that? He's the like souped up Yeti, right?
Yes. I think he's a strength 6 Yeti without wild animal.
Jack.
Yeah, I'm gonna look.
He is a strength 6 Yeti without wild animal. Yeah.
Yeah. Also
he's
with
just a better Yeti.
Also with thick skull. Or do they not have thick skull?
All Yetis have thick skulls, I think.
Do they also have regen?
No. They do not normally have regen, I don't think.
Let's
look at Ironmaster.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. No, they don't have thick skull or regen.
Oh, yeah. So better in a wide variety of ways.
Yeah.
Like some small, like reliability increases. So thick skull makes them much more reliable. Regeneration makes them even more reliable.
Which is actually surprisingly good going up against like the Claw Nurgle, who are like gonna try to, like the Claw Mighty Blow, are gonna try to remove you. Having that strength 6 piece, who is like pretty resilient to staying on the field regardless, is really good, I think.
Yep. Fair.
He's really hard to remove. Even with Claw. Claw is not really that helpful in that case. So I think that's actually a really good inducement for that case. I think I still have to back Tommy Too Tall though, and that's like just because that's who I picked for playoffs. So like you said, we need to give him energy, or I need to give him energy. But I don't think it's that straightforward. Honestly, I think the inducements could be pretty big for Norse here, and I think the movement is a big deal. It's going to be really annoying for the Nurgle to deal with.
Yeah, then fair enough, and that's the division. So those are all of our predictions.
Who did you predict for that one?
I think the Nurgle as well.
Okay. Good luck, Hiroto. I appreciate you hanging out on the stream. Sorry, I mean,
I really want you to murder him with Ice Pelt. I think it would be really funny.
And I'd prefer you to win because you hang out in my stream, and of course, I got to support my fans, my adoring fans. But I also have to pick, back the team that I picked for playoffs. So that is those are those teams. Those are our predictions. Those are the teams. That was the leaderboard. I would love to tune in for hot Ice Pelt action. Schedule your game on rebel.net, and maybe I can claim it if it's a time that makes sense for me. Let's bring back up the title screen. So this is us.
Ben, you gained 6 points this round.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Do you know how many points I gained, Ben?
Like 20?
22.
So
Guess.
Let's see. That would put me at 143, and it would put you at 131. So I'm still winning.
Damn it!
By like 9 points. So that's it for this week. That was week 11. We'll be back for week 12, and that will be a match review one. So if we won't match review a game that we happen to stream during the week, because watching it more than once seems disingenuous, I guess. But we're certainly going to aim for, if we don't get to watch them, we're certainly going to aim for the games that are top of the table with playoff implications. So, for example, Cake versus Archangel is one that we'd like to look at probably in Div 7. Div 6, it's probably going to be either Averagerice or MyStays in a game. We have looked at both of them before, I think. Maybe not Averagerice, I don't remember. but those are top of the table teams. And since we're getting close to playoffs, those are likely the ones that we want to focus on. I was pointing at them in game, even though I have the title screen up. Good production values. That was week 11. Week 12 will be next Wednesday. A lot of cool stuff happening in this division. Both divisions really close, which is really exciting. So I'm excited to see where those go in the last couple weeks of this, and good luck to the teams that make the playoffs. Until next Wednesday, I've been Steakmittens.
And I'm Shadorra.